Hello there, everybody. How's it going? Oh my god, have you already started eating?
Yeah.
Oh,
Why?
It's gonna be one of those shows. Hello.
Is there a problem?
No problem. Hi, everybody. This is the Co-Optional Podcast, minus our fearless leader today. I know a lot of you are probably like, where's TB? What's TB doing? Is TB all right? Is TB okay? What? To you, I say he's probably doing as well as one could be doing, and the reason why he's not here with us today is because his parents are in town. So, if there was ever a reason, that's probably...
He hasn't seen them in like 2 years.
Yeah, so...
It's crazy, so...
He's taken the show off, and we've honored him with what I assume is a picture of what he's doing right now. On his phone, drinking champagne. So, yeah.
Just taking a selfie. Just whatever.
I'm not sure if you guys are experiencing this, but it is like 12,000 degrees right now.
It's so hot!
The worst part is because of the apartment complex I live in, the window that is here goes directly out into like the common area, and so if I open it, it's just gonna be 3 hours of me like yelling at you guys in a microphone, and I feel like the neighbors might get pissed. So everything's closed, and there's a giant computer that's on, and I'm just like, okay, if I can just get through this, I should be good.
Yeah, we had like a few days where it was like kind of overcast and nice, and I was so happy, and now it's just gross again.
Our guest, dear Criken, are you feeling this? Are you okay?
See, I actually just recently moved out to LA this fall, so I did feel it.
You tell me. You
and then I moved back to the east just before it got hot, so I beat the heat.
Aw, man.
But yeah, it's still a bit hot out here, so you know.
Yeah. Well,
I get by.
I'll sweat for you, and we'll call it a day.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So, before we even begin, in continuing with our newfound tradition, we have a guest. His name's Criken. He has a very, very wonderful channel. Instead of doing it at the end, why don't you tell us about it now so we can promote it?
Right.
Pour it out, if you will.
Who are you?
Yeah, what do you do? Why are you even here?
I've actually been on the show before, about like 2 years ago, back when it was like the TGS podcast. Yeah, I don't know. I make videos, like funny videos on YouTube. I make them less frequently than I think the bigger YouTubers do. But I still have a pretty, fun time with it. We make like, this summer I'm trying to make one like once a week. And so I got a lot of fun content coming out that I'll be happy to talk about more later on the podcast or whenever it's relevant. But lately I've been doing a Dark Souls 2 playthrough with Vadi Vidya, who's another hilarious channel. And I've played the Harry Potter Sorcerer's Stone game that is for the PS1, which was the single like worst gaming experience thing I've had in like the last 4 years.
What?
It was just terrible.
A bad Harry Potter game? I don't believe
it was the first. It was the first one, so they didn't know what to do. Like they had these kids. They're like, how do we make a game about kids? So they just threw them in Hogwarts, and like, the teachers are like terrible. They're throwing Harry in like dangerous situations. Ron is like a sexist pig, and like Hermione doesn't say a thing. It's just like, it's the most ridiculous game ever. But yeah, I made 2 videos on that channel, so check it out.
Isn't that also the one where like you get lost really easily? It's either the first or the second Harry Potter game where like you're trying to figure out where to go constantly. Yeah, because it doesn't tell you.
Yeah, it really doesn't tell you. There was one time the Hagrid's like, meet me out by the castle grounds, and it doesn't tell you how to get there whatsoever.
Yes,
like you're running around the castle,
that.
Like, how do I leave? It's terrible.
Yep, I remember those experiences.
Well, we have a lot to talk about today, guys. We have a busy schedule, because it turns out a lot of games came out last week, and hopefully you guys played some of these, or else I'll be talking for a long time, because I literally played everything. I was like, I gotta play it all! I gotta be real professional about this podcast, or else Tuba's gonna yell at me, guys! So, I played everything.
Yeah, I never feel that way, so.
Oh my god. You didn't even check out Wolf Among Us today? I figured that'd be right up your alley.
No, I actually had no idea Wolf Among Us came out. I've been really distanced because I've been on hiatus from Press Heart, so I've been like really distanced from like the news aspect of it or like releases. And I got a bunch of tweets today being like, "What about Wolf Among Us? What do you think of Wolf Among Us? Have you played?" And I was like, "Oh no." I
don't know. I'm interested to see what you think, because what did you think of the last 3? Because I know your opinion dwindled as time went on. There was a problem with it.
I was sad that it seemed like less effort was going into them over time. You know, like the first one felt so fleshed out and awesome and had a great cliffhanger. And then the second and third ones were very short, didn't have as much of a cliffhanger as I wanted. Like, I guess I've cared less about the plot over time. And everybody keeps being like, "Oh, well, the last one is going to be just like the first. It's going to be real big and crazy." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, well, when the last one gets here, I'll be sure to play it.
Yeah. Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, all right, let's go through it then. What have you been playing this week, dear Criken? We'll go to you first.
Right. Mine hasn't been so much a new release, but it's an upcoming release. And okay, so I know both of you guys play MMOs a lot. Yeah, I can. I know both of you guys play MMOs a lot. I got an alpha access to the game Arcage, which is like this Korean MMO that has been out for like 2 years over there, but has just like made it over here. And it's actually like super interesting, and it's really cool because they managed to combine like this player-driven economy with like free open world PvP and like different factions, combating for control. And depending on like what you like, you can maybe build like a farm and a house, and make a lifestyle that way, or you can go out on the open seas because it's like a pirate game, like with a ship, and like steal other people's trade packs and like make money that way.
A long time ago on this podcast, I remember that TB Dodger and I had this conversation where we were like, what would be the best MMO ever? And the conversation eventually got to, it has the world-changing mechanics of Minecraft. It has like the crafting mechanics of like a Guild Wars or whatever, where you need this to craft this to craft this to craft this, and like everything can be crafted, right? Like this is and everything you do changes the world. So if you kill a guy in one location, he won't ever respawn, like that kind of stuff. Where we're snowballing our little or spitballing. I don't even know what the phrase is.
Spitballing.
We were snowballing. That's an entirely different thing.
Yep.
Internet, you're welcome. But everyone after that was like, Archage, dude, you got to play that. That's the game. Is that accurate? Is it that kind of?
It's pretty as close as I've seen. I mean, I've loved pirate games for like a long time, and there really haven't been enough, I think, that really mastered that whole like ship naval combat thing. One of them, the one that I actually did before, was Pirates of the Caribbean Online. I don't know if you guys played that, but it's like this Disney game that actually was really well done mechanically, but like just didn't have like no one took it seriously because it was a Pirates of the Caribbean game. But Arcage does it too. It like you're able to, by grinding and like farming and just spending a lot of time, you can build up the resources necessary to buy a ship, and then you can go out into the wide ocean. You'll see other players in the ocean. You can either like fight them. Actually, it's really cool because like you can join a faction and you can like war with the other faction. But once you're in the open waters, anything goes, and you can fight your own faction as a pirate and like gain notoriety points.
How do you
get killed?
How is combat
while in the ocean? Oh, it's the combat's. I mean, it's kind of point and clicky, but they have a really cool class system in that they have like 10 different classes, I think, or like roles, and you combine 3 of those roles to make your own unique class. So there's really like hundreds or even thousands of different classes you can make. They all have different kind of synergy with the different abilities. But what's really cool in the open ocean is like if you're like trying to steal someone's trade pack, like there's like a merchant ship, and you take them over, you take the trade pack, and then like their friend comes in and kills you. You'll be put on trial, and you'll when you die, you get teleported to a jail where you're judged by a jury of other players.
What? That's amazing.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so I've been filming like a series of my own called The Adventures of Captain Andy Trout, and I'm this wily pirate named Andy Trout, and I go on with my friends, and we've been like building these giant ships and just doing wacky stuff. So that should come on my channel next week, I think, and I'm really excited to make it because it's a really cool game.
More specifically, what I'm curious about is the ship combat. Now, you said like you fight. Do you fight as the ship, or do you fight as a dude on a ship?
The dude on the ship, which is what I love. It's like you can run between like stations. So like on like a big frigate, you'll get like a cannon. If you shoot the cannon, you'll deal damage to the enemy ship. Or you can get on a harpoon and like fire it at them and reel the ship in, and then leap on board with your crew and like fight them. Like you can like fit like 10 people on your little ship, and they'll have one, and you'll like reel them in, and then everyone just jumps in and beats them to death. So it's and there's a Kraken. There's a Kraken in the game. If you go to like a certain part of the map, this giant tentacle man comes up and he eats you. He just eats the whole ship. So it's very cool.
Why would you do that?
I was on Twitter, I think like a couple of weeks ago, and JP tweeted about how he was playing that game. And I was like, oh, I wonder what that game is. And I looked it up and saw that, you know, you had to apply to get in. And I was like, okay, I'll see if I can get in. Because the more that I read about it, the cooler it looked. And now I really want to play it.
I got in by just like emailing the devs and saying like, look, you know, I do this YouTube thing, and like I got some friends, and we want to make a video of your game.
Can you just like forward me what your email said, and I'll just replace my name in there?
Yeah,
since that seemed to work, I'll just
we get like all of us going in if you want. Like we can make our own like crew and guild and all that stuff. But they have families in the game. Like you can actually make a guild, like and then a family, which is like you can set up different like roles in the family. It's kind of role play and kind of weird, but it's still
that's amazing.
How Asian MMO is it though? Are there enough?
Are the girls wearing clothes?
Yeah, are there?
That's really the biggest question.
Are there enough very disturbing, like she might be 6, we don't know, characters, or are we? Like how is this game?
Yeah, are there races?
Right. Yeah, they're different races. Right now, there's I think 2 on each faction. It is a little bit Asian MMO-y because there's like the humans and the elves, which is like okay, they're on the west, so that's like the western faction, and then on the east there's like these furry creatures, which are like these cat people, and then like these tiny Asian people. Like they're the whole race is just like Asian like people. I don't get why they're their own race, but they're just shorter and they're like more magically inclined, I guess. I don't know really. And then they all start out. I don't know. It's a little bit weird, but you can customize them however you want. I'm technically a little Asian boy, but Captain Eddie Trout looks nothing like a little Asian boy. I can guarantee you that.
Wait, what?
He's like
Wait,
the grittiest man.
You heard it here first. Criken does not think Asian boys are pretty.
No.
He's not a fan of Asians.
That is taking words out of context.
You heard it. That's what he
Captain
said.
Andy Trout
Asians,
is the prettiest
not
of men,
pretty.
and he just happens to be not Asian. I'm not saying Asian men can't be pretty. Okay, clarified.
Well, is there anything else you've been playing, or has that been it? You've just been enthralled by this game. It sounds awesome, by the way.
It does.
Yeah.
It sounds really fun. I want to play.
It's pretty fun. Other than that, I've been playing Dark Souls 2 with Vadi, which is, I mean, I'm sure you guys have played Dark Souls 2. It's hard, but it's funny because the dynamic is like Vadi's like this Dark Souls enthusiast. Like he's played countless hours. His channel is all dedicated to Dark Souls.
He's like the official Dark Souls YouTuber, right?
Yeah, really. And so I played with him, and I've never played Dark Souls 2 before, so he's like, I mean, the dynamic's like, I get us into trouble, and he helps us out. But we have fun along the way, so.
So, I mean, what are you doing? Just going through the game? Is that pretty much it? Just...
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if we actually finish the game. So far, the first episode, we beat the last giant.
The last giant, yeah.
The first boss, the last giant, yeah. And then in this next one we just filmed, we killed like 3 bosses. So hopefully, at this rate, we'll get it done, in a year from now or something like that.
Yeah, you guys you're on a roll. Exponentially, one episode will be you guys and 1,000 bosses. If you keep going at this rate.
Yeah, exactly.
Just gotta ramp it that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every time I play Dark Souls 2, it's been on a stream, and I'm like, all right, let's see how far we can get. And so far, I've been able to kill a boss every time. Like, it takes me like fucking like 4 hours to get through one area and finally kill that boss. But I know eventually I'm going to get to an area where I'm like, I'm just trying to get through this one area, and I just never do, and I shut off the stream and cry to myself.
Uh-oh.
That's my problem, is it takes too long to get to the boss. I'm just like, I just want to fight. This game's all about getting your ass kicked by bosses. I'd rather die 1,000 times to a boss than take 4 hours to get to one. I'm like, I just want to fight a boss.
I will say that, like, if you feel that way, because that's exactly how I feel, something that really helped me was streaming it, because when I got stuck, like, all I had to do was look at the chat, and there were like 8,000 people being like, you need to kill that other dude first. Oh my god, I can't believe.
Here's the secret weapon that will give you the bonus you need to kill this. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's an area I was at that I'm sure you've done. The oh shoot, what was it called? The area that's kind of like piratey, and you have to like bring the ship in.
I did that last night. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was doing that part, and everybody was like, oh my god, you need to turn the light on. You need to turn the lights on. Go get this item and turn the lights on. Oh my god. And I finally did it, and I was like, this is so much easier. Like, it just helped so much. So.
Actually, in that part, the pirates actually throw like oil at you, and they have fire arrows, and we didn't realize this, but if you get coated in oil and they hit you with fire arrow, you just explode. And like we didn't know why we were exploding, and every once in a while one of us would just combust, and we were freaking out. We were like, what's happening? We're just doing this.
Yeah. That area sucks. And the dogs only took like one hit, but if you like don't realize the dog is there, it really sucks. Anyway, Dark Souls 2, super fun, really fun game. Challenges yourself.
You can explode and dogs will come eat you. It's the
You
best.
can explode. You could turn into a better form of yourself because you're undead.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then you explode.
And then you explode. Save your effigies, everybody.
Oh god, yeah. I have one effigy left, I think. I'm running low.
Yeah, I keep running down to one effigy too, and then Sam's like, I don't know when you're gonna find another one. You gotta save that. You're really just like flying fast and loose with those effigies. And then I'll find like 3 in a row, and I'm like, oh, guess it's not such a big deal now. But that's gonna bite me in the butt.
Right.
I'm eventually gonna be like, I find them all the time. And just like have none and just cry.
Speaking of which, then, let's move on to you, sweet Princess Duger. How what have you been doing this week?
I mean, honestly, I've been mostly like filming stuff this week because I'm on.
What have you been filming?
I'm on hiatus to film stuff, so I've been filming.
What?
I've been filming Swords and Stitches, and I've been filming I Trieds, and I've been filming Welcome to the Fandoms. All the things that I keep saying I'm going to make these things one day, and then I never do. So I decided I'm going to take a break and actually do that stuff. So I haven't been playing as much new stuff. I know a lot of things came out, so I really dropped the ball on that. I did wind up playing a lot of Fistful of Frags. Have either of you guys played that?
How come every time you say I've been playing a lot of insert any game, it's a game no one on planet Earth has heard of?
No! Look at chat.
I've heard of it.
Chat will know.
I read
Fistful
about
of
it today,
Frags.
I think.
It's a mod. It's a Counter-Strike mod where you're all cowboys. It's super fun.
Sounds cool.
I don't know.
It's really cool.
I like
really
it.
fun.
Keep describing it. I want to hear more. Sounds
Well,
cool.
I mean, like, you just, you choose all the weapons that you want, and you wind up on different teams, and all of the maps, for the most part, basically just look like Counter-Strike maps, which I was sad about. I was like, oh, I want to feel like I'm in the
like
old
Wild
West.
Yeah. Like like the saloon and like the wide road. The tumbleweed. Is there tumbleweeds at least? Come on.
I have yet to see a tumbleweed. Criken, I'm sorry.
Oh.
But like
It's
the
just
actual
Texas.
playing of the game is fun because you legit feel like you're just walking into ambushes constantly because you're still on teams, so like you're walking around with like your little handguns and you're just like I'm gonna kill one of these guys, and then just all of a sudden from the rooftops just like 8 dudes wearing blue all show up and just shoot you down. You're like, no. It's fun. It's fun. It's a really fun mod. So I played a lot of that. I played a lot of. I think I've almost beaten Tearaway finally. That's not a game that like just came out, but it's not super old either. I finally decided to play that game. That game's adorable.
Like, is it like where you control the, paper? I don't think.
Yeah, it's the game for Vita where it's like a papercraft world, and then
wait a minute.
What?
You said Tearaway, the game, and I'm like, I wonder what that's about. And Criken says what I assume a small child would think the game was. It's like, is that the game where you tear paper? And you're like, yep,
Don't blow this for me, Jesse.
Like,
it is. Yeah, the whole.
I played it off cool. She thought I knew what I was talking about.
So like the whole world is made out of paper, right? At the beginning of the game, it's like something has shown up in the sun, and it takes a picture of your face. And of course, every time it took a picture of me, I was like. Just like in bed, and then it just like it keeps like a video feed of your face in the sun, and there are all of these little paper people that are like, "What is that? There's a thing in the sun," and they start calling it a you because it's adorable. So there's a you in the sun that's you, and then there's a little paper messenger who's trying to bring a message to you. So you play as the messenger, and you're running around in this paper world. And it's cool because it's the first time that I've ever used that back touchpad on the Vita for anything. Like, so every now and then you go to places.
Expressly for that, yeah.
Right? Every now and then you go to areas and they're like little bad guys, and it's like, poke them out. So you touch the back of the pad and just little fingers pop out and just like knock them out of the way. It's so cute. It's such a cute game. It's
like customize
obviously.
fingernail polish and all that.
Oh, I wish. I wish that it would just mimic exactly what
Take
your
a picture of your fingers
like.
now, and you're like, oh.
Take a picture of your fingers. Oh my gosh. As the game progresses, it like tells you to take pictures of more and more things. So like I ran into a moose and the moose was like, they took all my color away. Take a picture of something and that'll be my new color. And so I just took like a picture of Sam's arm because I was lazy. And now all of the mooses, the meese, all of them in that game, they're all just like arms, just all over the moose.
That's awesome.
So funny. Like, what is this? It's obviously made for kids, but I think that it's really.
You don't say.
I think it's really fun for an adult too, because you're just walking around trying to get all of the confetti because it's a world made of paper. So like,
is it like Scribblenauts kind of, and that like you like change the world with your inputs sort of thing?
There's no way for you to change the world or alter the world. Things will always go exactly the same, but you'll walk up to things where it's like, there's a present, you need to open it, and you actually have to physically like touch the ribbons, like pull the ribbons apart and interact that way a bit more, and it's cute.
Okay.
I like how in chat. I can't read it because that name is the craziest color name I've ever seen. But I think it's Zhuge Liang, which is Dynasty Warriors. But he says, how come every Dodger segment sounds like an acid trip? I agree. I agree. No matter what game you talk about, like, you know, there's one game, and they're little babies, and the babies try to eat your face. And then there's, like, it's all in French, though, so you don't know what's it. Like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Dodger games.
Dodger games.
That should be your show. That should be one of your shows, Dodger games, where you only play games that make no fucking sense.
I mean, that's basically all I do on that channel anyway.
Dodger games.
Dodger games.
It's a good one. I like that.
Yep,
I like that a lot.
So Tearaway, super cute. You guys should totally play that. And man, what else? Did I even really play anything else? Let me look. Hold on. Let me look at my desktop really quick.
While you look, let's go off on a little tangent here. Can we?
Oh, I played Outlast. Fuck that game.
Oh, you know what? Here's the thing. Outlast is a game that, for the first 2 hours, is horrifying, and after that, you're just like, I spend all day running away from these guys.
You said that so many times on this podcast. Every time somebody talks about Outlast, you're like, look, that game is really scary, and then it gets repetitive.
I saw Criken's nod. I saw that nod.
I agree with you, Jesse.
I'm sure that's true, but because I've heard that so many times, I went into playing this game thinking this game is going to be bullshit. Like,
the beginning's horrifying.
It's not going to be scary.
Oh, yeah.
I played it on Scare to Care this weekend, and
congratulations to Scare to Care. They made a ton of money. Good job.
They made $33,000. It was fantastic. So proud of them. But I when it was my turn to play, it was just me constantly panicking. It was just like, and it didn't even give me enough of a reason. I don't think it felt like a game where they were like, all right, we just need to come up with some bullshit reason to put you in a hospital. And then there's going to be people trying to take off all of your bits and eat them.
Much. Yes.
And I was like, I need more than that. Is that wrong to say about a horror game? Like, I need more than that out of a horror game. Like, a reason to be alive, a reason to live, like a purpose. Right. I don't have that in that game. They're just like, there's a press badge in your car, and now get out and break in. And whoops, guess that was a mistake. Better try to get out. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was so disappointed in that.
Even like the gameplay didn't really vary. Like, at least in like Amnesia, which I think is one of the best like horror games that's out there. Like, the first enemy you really encounter is like that water creature, and you're like, holy shit, like this thing is terrifying. And then you don't encounter one of those again really until like much later. So they vary it up, and like there's like calm periods and then like, you know, intense periods. And because there's like that, you know, that constant like fluctuation, it keeps you more invested than if it was just constantly on your guard, kind of like what they do in Outlast. I feel like they kind of missed the boat.
That's one of the things that I noticed about Outlast, that I think a lot of horror games, and even having seen it, Skype just stopped working. That's great. And cut, edit, paste, trim. We're good. We're back. Hello, everybody. Thank you to all 9,000 of you who sat there for that. I love you. All right. It was great. It was a good X-Men movie, but let's get back to Outlast. So anyway, I think one of the things that I really have noticed about games lately, and especially the new what is that game from Bethesda? The new scary one from the Resident Evil guy.
Oh, Evil Within.
Evil Within. I went and saw the demo for that at PAX East, and I was all excited. I was like, I can't wait. I was in a room filled with like young girls. I was so excited. Well, that's
okay.
I was in a room filled with young girls, and I was excited for the reason that they'd be freaking out scared.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I mean, Criken, don't ruin
We
this
knew
for
what
me.
you meant. We
Thank
knew
you.
what you meant.
Thank you. After my discussion of like, do they have young girls in that video game? Now I'm a little iffy on that. Anyway, so I was sitting there. I was very excited. I was like, oh, these girls are gonna freak out. This is gonna be great. This is gonna be jump scares like crazy. I was like, this is gonna be wonderful. And the entire game was, or at least the demo we saw, was sneaking and hiding while you were being chased, which has this sense of urgency and a sense of like a tinge of fear. And I get that. And I think at some points in games, that's very needed. The problem is, I'm worried that that entire game, much like Outlast, will have that the entire time. Like Outlast, going back to Amnesia, Amnesia was like it had different moments that felt differently, and I think that's why it was such a success. Outlast was, from the moment you get in there, you're being chased by something. Be it the two naked dudes, be it the big giant guy, be it the guy with who like, you know, the evil doctor, be it whoever, something's always chasing you. And eventually, after your first time dying, or after the first time you see whatever's chasing you, you lose the fear because, you know, it's always the fear of unknown. You don't know what's going to happen. Once it happens, you're like, all right, now I got to beat this guy. And it becomes a giant pain in the ass. At that point, it's insane because that's what the rest, if you go watch the playthrough Krenner I did, the last 10 episodes are us just like, F this giant, F this stupid building, and us like just running directly at him because we didn't care anymore because it was easier to run at him than to hide in a room and wait 10 minutes for him to walk by. And we just didn't care.
And I experienced the same thing when I was playing Outlast, actually, because, like, not only if you conquer the fear of actually dying to him, then, like, he's just loses all, he's not scary anymore.
Right.
But if you can somehow get him in a position where he's, like, glitched out and, like, you're staring at him right in the face, then he just becomes, it's just funny now. And then it loses any fear, in the situation as well.
There's a moment in the Amnesia playthrough that I did way back when I jumped on a box. I was being chased by, droopy face guy. It was still pretty early in the game, but it was the point, where he's still the main enemy, and I was freaked out. This game's scaring the crap out of me. I jump up on a box to hide, and you have that like music in the background, and so like he's right there, and I literally just turn and look at him, and there's about a 5-minute scene of me just cracking the hell up, just because once you finally see him, he's not horrifying. He's kind of cute, and like, look at that guy, right? And it's one of those moments where it takes all the tension out of the game, and from that point on, he became like my friend, and the crazy guy with like the machete arms or whatever, I'm like, that asshole, like, no spoilers, but like he becomes a bad guy, and I'm like, that guy's just a dick. He's not scary, right? And that's how I felt with Outlast. And I think looking at like new games coming out, new horror games, it's all about like you're being chased, and all I want to say is like to the developing team, make it at least a little bit realistic, where if I'm being chased Outlast by a giant monster, and there's like shards of glass on the ground, and giant sticks, and knives in a kitchen, wouldn't I pick a knife up and be like...
fight back eventually, yeah.
Eventually be like, enough of this. And you'd fight back. And it drives me crazy. And going back to something that you said earlier, Dodger, about knowing that there's going to be scares. Like, when you played Outlast, you were horrified because you were like, oh god, it's going to be scary, it's going to be scary. That's how I felt with Slender, which was, everyone says it's scary. I know the sound he makes, and I know he's always behind you. So when I played it, I was more afraid of knowing that eventually he'd get me than being scared of the actual game.
Yeah.
So when I'm playing even a blade of grass, I'm like, oh shit, is that Slenderman? And I'm freaking out, and I don't want to turn around because everyone's like, he's gonna be always right behind you, dude. So I just kept going straight and never turned around. And that's the kind of thing where it's like, it sort of ruins the experience. So what I'm saying is, I'm an asshole for ruining your Outlast experience.
No, honestly, it's fine, because I have no interest in a game that's constantly trying to gross you out either. I'm worried that that's what Evil Within is going to be. Like, the Evil Within is going to be a lot of a lot of just constant tension and isn't this so realistic? Aren't you freaked out and grossed out? And I'm just like, and that's sort of how I felt about Outlast, was like, you were constantly in situations where it was like, isn't this freaky? And I was like, yeah, but I'm also kind of annoyed by it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I did scream. Anybody who watched Scared to Care knows that I hit a point where I was being surrounded by those twins and I lost my mind and just curled up in a ball and was like, I don't want to do this anymore, and then went to the bathroom. That's how I dealt with that situation. But
you know, the bathrooms where all the monsters are, waiting in the toilets, waiting for you.
That made me laugh because there were a few people who were at Scared to Care who were like, I don't want to go to the bathroom alone. And I was like, but it's so bright in there. You're good, man.
Make your studios known for monsters in the bathroom. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
That's true.
People go in, they don't come out. That's why they have to keep recruiting new talent. A lot dies in the bathroom. It is bad.
One time, all right, this is actually really eerie. This is like a personal story. I went to Maker's office to record something. I went to the office to record something, and I had to go in on the weekend, so there was no one there, and I had to go in at like night because it was the only time I could make it. So I like buzzed myself in. It was completely empty, and like I did my thing. I recorded. I went to the bathroom on my way out, and I heard Red Hot Chili Peppers coming from a loft in like the offices. I don't know if you know the place. It's like there's like this spiral thing, and there's like a loft up there, and I heard it coming from up there, and I was sure I was the only one in the building, and I have no idea to this day who is playing Red Hot Chili Peppers.
The Phantom of the Chili Peppers. He lives there.
Yeah.
He has like a chili pepper mask.
Was it
really
like
creepy?
Possibly a ringtone? Like somebody left a phone at the office?
It sounded like speakers. It sounded like someone was jamming out up there, and I got out fast because I know there's a homeless person like enclave just down the street from that office.
Right,
so.
that is true. Yeah, under that bridge.
Yeah.
So in your mind,
under the bridge.
In your mind, a homeless dude snuck it. First off, broke into Maker Studios.
Yes.
Then said, you know what? I haven't heard the Chili Peppers in a few years, and just started blasting like Californication up in this office. He's like, yeah, man. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would do if I had an office to myself and I was homeless. I'd be like, before I sleep here, I'm gonna enjoy myself.
Right, right. I'm gonna use all this technology.
Yeah.
Nice. Blast Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. That's you're right. You're absolutely right. That's what anyone would do. Criken's gone now. We lost. Skype, you're the best around. You do everything.
Quickmaster.
That's fine.
Quickmaster, come back.
That's fine. It's just his face. He'll come back eventually, maybe.
Quickmaster. Yep, that is his face. I also like how it's cropped on the actual thing.
It's just the mouth. Yep. That's wonderful.
Beautiful.
Well, once again, our dear friends at Skype. Oh my God.
Oh no. Well.
Dodger 24/7. This is ridiculous. I can't. The homeless Chili Peppers fan got him.
Oh, there we go.
He's back. Hey, welcome back.
Hey. Hi.
Oh my goodness. Well, he's still. Oh, there he is. Hey, how's it going, buddy? Nope.
Nope.
He's gone.
Bye.
This is like, oh yeah, this look at his face of like, am I in?
Am I?
Nope.
Nope, it's gone. Yeah. So X-Men.
Yes,
X-Men. Pretty good movie.
Dude, that was great. That was a good movie. I was so happy about the. You look like an art installation right now. You have one armpit, a little view of your room, and then this creepy face thing. Yep. That's it. That's it.
I'm just hoping that this. Well, I don't know. Oh, we can't talk about it without spoiling it for people.
Yeah, I know. It sucks. The ending was great, though, and I'll leave it at that.
All I'll say is I hope that somehow this winds up being able to lead into a proper Deadpool movie.
They did say that they were going to have one.
I know. Been saying that forever.
So, all right, guys. This is what we're going to do. We're going to take a little break because this is nuts. and I'm gonna try and figure out why Skype is awful right now, and I will screw you. And we will be back in a second. You're the worst.
Bye.
And I want to say we're back, but apparently Jesse Cox has a screen problem, and everything's out of whack. Because that's about right. There we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I just tried to fix Skype for you all, and I hope it worked. And if it doesn't, well, that's life. I don't know. I mean, I did everything I could possibly do to fix Skype, and we'll see. This is the Cox Optional Podcast. TB's not here this week, but I'm joined by two lovely guests, both of which are just too damn pretty to be on YouTube.
Aww.
They should be in a zoo, and we can throw peanuts and bananas at them. Yes.
This took a dark turn.
That's in my future. You'd both be in a zoo. And we'd all look at you and be like, "Those were the freaks." That's what.
How did you get away, though? What was the characteristic that made it so we had to go into a zoo, but you got to live as a free man? I'm
emperor of the planet.
God.
Yeah,
Okay, got it.
In this scenario, I'm planet emperor. So
right.
That's how that works.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So anyway, I guess we will get back on topic with the stuff that this week I had played, and I played a bunch. But before we even get into that, did anyone play Transistor? Has anyone sat down to play Transistor lately?
I've only watched Transistor. I have yet to play
I've watched
Transistor.
people play it. I haven't played it myself.
I tried to make time to play it this week. I didn't get a chance to play it. And my big question to anyone who has played it is simply, all these reviews that I read are literally, I wrote down a quote. This is a direct quote. I love it. This game is awesome. The score, 80. My question is, most reviews I read, there's a few 100s, there's a few 90s, but most of the reviews fall in like the 80, 85 range. And I'm curious why everyone's like, this game is amazing, this game's so good. 80. Right. And I don't know that I need an answer, because it's driving me crazy. And I feel like I want to play it, but I don't know that I want to spend the money.
The only thing that I've heard from like people that I know is that there was more of a expectation for it to be Bastion, and it's not Bastion. Yeah, you know? So like after playing it, you can say it was a good game, but sorry, Criken, go talk.
I didn't. Sorry. Yeah, I heard the same thing. It was like the gameplay is better. Like they did a better job making it like a game, like a fun game. But like the whole narrative / storytelling thing that everyone fell in love with Bastion is less of a focus there, or like you kind of missed the mark at least, or I don't know. I just heard that people went in expecting like that same storytelling experience that Bastion had, and in the end got more of a game, but less of a that. So they gave it like an 80, like you said.
Interesting. That might relate to a news article we have today.
Weird.
Oh. Interesting. In which both of our lovely esteemed panelists here they both can confirm. I wrote a little comment on the news article about what I thought of it, specifically what I thought of it. But let's see. This week I played first off Watch Dogs. I got a early copy of that. Yes.
Is it Grand Theft Auto? Is it basically Grand Theft Auto?
This isn't a spoiler because it's literally the first, actually, I'll leave out the spoiler part. This is literally the first 5 minutes of the game, and I'll explain to you why I feel like I'm 5-6 hours in. I'm told that there's 40 hours of content. I might have a little caveat about that I'm not sure, but so after the intro scene and the actual like little bit of story, even though the character's motivations, I feel like a finger is needed for this because I don't.
Spoiler finger?
Yeah, I feel like it's.
Let's do it. It's a new game. Let's do it. Spoiler finger.
Spoiler finger. This is. So the game starts.
Mute us if you don't want to be spoiled. For those of you who don't know what spoiler finger means, we're all used to TV's fancy overlay. Okay.
So the game starts with your character, Aiden, who is basically just a hacker, and he's in like a bank / hotel / I don't know what he's doing. But he's there and he's hacking, and then he gets detected by other hackers who mysteriously are like, I need you to find him and rough him up a bit and teach him a lesson. So what happens is this guy shoots out the tires in your car, and the way it's done is very cool looking, because it's like all like staticky, like really bad video, like you're watching a playback of a corrupted video or something. That's all of the memories, which is really cool. And so what happens is your character is in a car with his niece, and his niece dies in the car, and your motivation is vengeance for your niece. And it's one of those things where I was like, that's an okay motivation for a character, but it's not like the best storyline, right? It's kind of like, all right, whatever. And so anyway, like that sets you on this course to like get vengeance. Anyway, we can put it down. Okay. So the intro level is you're in a stadium, and in this level you can use all sorts of cool, amazing things. Like you're sneaking around, so it's very Assassin's Creed-y. Like you're sneaking around trying to avoid the cops who are just like walking around, and also gang members who are walking around, like all these different things. But your abilities, like you shut down all the power in the stadium. You can control cameras. You can take money from people from their cell phones. You can get information. Like you can do all these amazing things in the first 5 minutes. And it's like, this is great. This game's incredible. And then right after that, you exit the stadium, you escape, and then you jump in a car and you enter Grand Theft Auto World. It's a really weird, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I wrote down this quote that this guy in EGM who reviewed the game wrote, and I think it's exactly how I feel. He says, in truth, Aiden's abilities are just slightly reworked versions of the same things we've seen in other games for years now. Siphoning pedestrians' bank accounts by hacking them with the profile, that's Assassin's Creed pickpocketing with a looser proximity requirement. Activating a car alarm to distract a guard, more or less tossing a noisemaker in Splinter Cell. Throwing some bollards up, or detonating a steam pipe to take out your pursuers. It's the same thing that has been done in sort of Need for Speed, right? And he goes down this list of just like all these different things that have been done before, and I feel like that's what this game is. It's like Grand Theft Auto, the white collar version, where everything you're doing is like very high tech, but you're still doing Grand Theft Auto World kind of stuff. And it's one of those things where it's a very fun game, but it feels very familiar, like too familiar.
Right. And it doesn't feel new enough for all the hype.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It's one of those things where if that's your shit, you're gonna love this game. If you like Grand Theft Auto World and you like the open world feel of driving around, although I will say the car driving is not nearly as good as GTA 5's was. The physics just isn't there. But whatever. If you enjoy all that, if you like how in some places, in order to unlock missions, you have to find creative ways to get up to towers that are on top of buildings. So in one case, you had to use cranes and forklifts and things and walk across them and then like hack them and make them move. So you get to the top of the building, get to a tower, plant your little device, and it unlocks every mission in that area. So that's how you unlock missions, right?
Oh, okay.
And so they're little cool creative things like that. But I feel like when people say 40 hours, what they mean is 40 hours of additional content, because I don't know how a story can be 40 hours long. I feel like that's an impossibility with this game. But with that said, also with that 40 hours of content, I feel like most of it is repetitive, do the same mission, like you're running, like go get this guy's account and hack into his thing, and I don't know, it's weird. It's a very strange game that I like, but I don't know that I love it. And I feel like if this is the genre you love, you'll think it's great. But everything in it feels like it was pulled from somewhere else to make this game.
It was supposed to be a driver's game, right?
I don't know.
I think it was originally supposed to be a game in the Drivers series, and then they were like, no, let's change it up, and that's why there's so much driving in it. It's really strange that, and what's crazy is once you get in the car, you can still hack things, like you can drive around, but you miss so many important things to hack because you're driving so fast. So it's very, I still don't know if I like the driving. I don't drive anywhere unless the mission tells me to do that. I'll walk around, because what you can do is press X, or I guess since I'm using it on an Xbox, you press X and you can access all these points of hacking that you can do. And it's really cool. There's a lot of really great small things, like you can get people's text messages, and you can, so
And it's always about things that are happening around you. So if you cause a blackout, people on the text message are like, "Oh shit, dude, power's out!" Like, "Oh man!" Right? There's even funny ones. Like a bunch of people have already reported a really popular one they found, which is this girl's like, "Hey, I want to see if you want to come over tonight," and I think it's like, "Check out my clitoris," and the guy's like, "I've been waiting for you to ask me forever," and she's like, "I meant clothes," right? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's really funny. And there's stuff like that all over the place. And there's a lot of...
Hey, you want to come check out my clitoris?
Right? It's like a lot of...
Yes?
I mean, I would be... Yeah,
I guess, yeah, sure, I'm there.
And so there's just a lot of really cute moments in it. And the characters are really good. The problem is, every character is great except for the main character. Like,
Oh, yeah, one of those.
Does he have Batman voice?
No, his voice is kind of ugly though. Like he has this voice that's sort of like gruff, but I don't know how to describe it. Like when you think gruff voices, you automatically think like Steve Bloom or it's not like that. It's like he has a sandwich in his mouth when he's talking. It's really weird. I don't know how to describe it. It's very like every character in the game is really compelling except for the main character, and the main character is a guy who's like, "I'm getting vengeance, but I'm doing it in sort of an assholey way." Like he's like you go around, you can see people's bank account information, and it's like rob, and then you go to and you withdraw ATM money, and you're like, that's really douchey though. Like some of them are like, "This guy's unemployed, rob." Like this guy.
Oh no.
It's really weird, and it's one of those things where I don't. At least in Grand Theft Auto 5. Your disdain for the characters was because they had such a personality that they were awful people. Like you were like, "Holy crap, these guys are assholes. They're enjoyable. I love it, but they're assholes." In this, your character doesn't really have too much of a personality, and it's kind of depressing. Plus, then he masks up and he has his hat, so you barely see his face ever. And when you do, it's one of those things. It's just like, I feel like there's potential here when everyone else is so well written. I don't know. If you're a GTA fan, you'll probably love this game. You'll probably think it's great.
I get really disappointed when a game has a really blasé main character and it feels as though they did it on purpose. You know, that happens so often where they're like, "We want you to feel like you're that guy, you're that cool, powerful guy," and I'm like, "Stop. Just give me a really cool protagonist with an interesting story, and I'll be excited to play as that person," right? Like, it doesn't always have to be just like, "You don't got a personality," because it's your personality.
And that's
you lucky butt.
I think that's something that happens in all, like, even in written media. Like, the reason why, and I mean, it happens all the time, but the reason why, for example, the girl in the Twilight series is such a boring person is because she was like, "I want every girl to relate to her."
Yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, and they do that in games too. The only time they don't do that is movies, thank God. But it's when you have that like first person, like, "I'm entering this world." Oh, you're right. Actually, sometimes they do. but like you're entering this world, and so people assume you're controlling the person, so we want you to be the character. The problem is, in the game, sometimes, like in a world like this, they're saying, "We want you to be the guy who had this trauma happen to him in his life, and we want you to be the guy who goes around and like pipe bombs shit, and we want you to be the guy who goes around and robs people blind." And it's kind of like, I don't know I want to be that guy, because I don't relate to this guy on any level. At least in like Grand Theft Auto 5.
When you're playing as a character, when you're playing as a character that isn't you, then you can kind of like separate the acts from you, and it makes it a lot more easy to do them because you don't feel like this is just purely your.
This guy's a terrible person. I'm going to control this terrible person, but you're not like
instead of saying, "I'm a terrible person, I'm going to rob this homeless guy."
Yeah.
Like in Grand Theft Auto 5, that's because they were such assholes. You got a little bit of glee out of being like, "Oh my God, I like being this bad of a person." And then you put down the controller, like, "Well, that was fun. Go back to my normal life." And I think they tried very, very hard to make it like everyone can be this character, and I don't think that's possible.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's
Your point, I think so.
It's a solidly okay game. Again, it would have to be like an 80 kind of thing, where it's like there's a lot of great stuff. I don't know if it all adds up to a perfect game, but it adds up to fun. I just don't know long term. Probably next week I'll probably know better, but I don't know if there's enough gameplay to reach that 40-hour mark people are claiming. Because a lot of the side missions, I'm 5.5 hours in ish. Some of the side missions are the exact same, just like we increased the difficulty level. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, that's unnecessary. Which, I mean, the same thing they did in Saints Row and they've done in GTA. It's just those are the extra missions and you get achievements for doing them. But I don't know if I don't know if I like that. The one thing I will say that I think is the biggest flaw for me is the city in which it takes place in. I assume it's Chicago, but I couldn't tell you because it doesn't feel like Chicago. Like in all the other games that are similar to this, the world they set them in has its own personality, and this world, all the different areas of the city sort of blend together, except for maybe one or two. You can't really tell, like sometimes you just get lost in missions, which thank God they have like tracking things, or else you wouldn't know what's going on, because it just doesn't feel like where they say it's supposed to be. And I guess maybe like if you were from Chicago, that you probably have a better understanding of like what it's supposed to look like. But even fake cities like San Andreas felt like like, oh, I know exactly like what they're trying to go for here, and like each area was different, each area was fun. This is I think
that's so necessary for a game too. Like in any sort of an open world game, you need to be able to like be in the city and say to yourself, oh, I'm in this area, I need to get to that area, and be able to tell that there are different zones, different areas, because that's what happens in real cities, like you shouldn't constantly feel like, am I in the same spot I was in over there? Is this the same place? I can't tell.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's something that I noticed. I'm like, I went, because after I played it, I went and go look up like a few reviews this morning because I was really curious what other people thought if I was the same one. And I'm glad, like across the board, almost everyone agreed with that point. Like the city just isn't there. And it's really strange that everything's very polished, but it's polished nonsense. Like it's like, oh, this looks beautiful, but it's nothing. It's a beautiful nothing, which is whatever. Speaking of beautiful nothing, I played Mario Kart 8 this week, and I will say it's gorgeous. The music is fantastic, but it's just Mario Kart. There's nothing at all special about it. It's, if you played Mario Kart in arcades, the new arcade Mario Kart, it plays exactly like that. It feels exactly like that, except the arcade one's more fun because everything's randomly generated, and it's Mario Kart. Like they're not going to sell any systems, with it, but I don't know. Did any of you guys get a chance to see it or play it this week?
No.
That just goes to show you, everyone's so excited for Mario Kart.
I mean, I really loved Mario Kart 64, and that's really the only one I've ever owned and played a lot. And the rest of them, it's just been like, if I go to somebody's house and they own one, then I'll play it there. But I've never had an inclination to own it,
It's not bad. It plays great. It looks great. It sounds great. All the maps are, when you go to Bowser's Castle, there's a death metal version of Bowser's theme. It's fantastic.
Amazing.
Like all the music is great. The problem is it's Mario Kart. It's similar to most Nintendo outings. They just don't take too many chances, so you get exactly what you expect. And it's one of those games that's like, well, if I have friends over and we have a few beers, that's gonna be the game to play. But really, it's not bad, but it's not a jump forward by any means. It's just sort of like, here's some more Mario Kart.
I'm just sad that like last week we were talking about it, and apparently it doesn't have like the other zones for when you want to battle with people, that it just puts you right back on the racetrack.
It's weird.
I think that's real dumb. That's real dumb.
You guys think of the new Smash Bros. And like all the hype that's building around that? Because I'm a big Smash Bros. Fan. So
that'll take off. I mean, that game could literally be like, introducing the new character, Shit Stick. And it's like a guy and it's like drooping shit, and people would be like, oh, he's the perfect pair to go with Yoga Wii Fit Lady. Oh my god, they'll be great. Like, it can do no wrong. I'm convinced that the hype on that one is like actually legit real, and I'm convinced that that's their baby. They aren't gonna screw that up, and if they do,
yeah,
I'll be reading all those articles like, This is wonderful. I figure it'll do fine.
Yeah.
I hate Smash Brothers, but I know people who love it
Really?
so much.
Why do you hate it?
Oh, because I suck at it. If I was great, I'd be like, that game's the best game ever. I'm horrible at it. I'm the worst. So that's why I hate it. But,
I'm also bad at it, but I don't know. I enjoy it. I think it's fun.
Here's the thing, though. The people I end up playing with, the people who are like, I've been playing Smash Brothers since I was 12. And
Like
I'm
JonTron.
like, oh my god. I vividly remember his screech of Landmaster as he destroyed all of us. I don't want to... Sean!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, like, everyone I know, like, especially, you know, all the completionist guys, like, they all love that. So every time I play with them,
yeah.
it's just like, doop, I'm gonna try to win. And I get my ass kicked. And it's like, well...
No, it's just, I guess I'll just hit B a lot. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I feel you.
That's the case
I
with
think
like
that it's
any fighting game, really. It's like, you know, like Street Fighter and like all those
yeah.
arcade style ones. Like people that have been playing it for so long, you have no chance of really catching up to them because they've
It's
been doing
true.
it for so many years. But,
Oh
like,
my god.
there's like different, you know, ways to enjoy it.
I was at PAX Prime last year, and I was at this arcade across the street, and I was sitting there playing Street Fighter, and I was just sticking around. And at the time, there were these there were these girls who were with me, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be real impressive on Street Fighter," thinking I was so cool, right? Dudes from Screw Attack come over, sit down right next to me, like, "Can we play with you?" I'm like, "Sure, whatever." Kick my ass, and I was like, "Well, I'm gonna take my man card and go somewhere else." That's the story of my life. I enjoy dicking around because fighting games at its base core is they're not that hard.
yeah.
And then you can like jump around and dick around. These guys were like, I was like, oh well, this was fun. So that's the story of my life. Really is what that is.
You know what's fun though? Is playing the most recent version of a game in a franchise like that and then playing the oldest one. I love going back and playing the very first Smash Brothers and being like, there are like no characters. And you
Right.
feel that way
Yeah.
when you go back and play the very first Mortal Kombat 2 or the very first Street Fighter. You're like, God, there's like, I can't play anybody. What is this?
One of the crazy things that I noticed is there's a weird like bell curve of that where it's a game will have barely any characters, then a shit ton of characters, and then someone will be like, "Whoa, guys, we got too many superfluous characters."
Too many.
And then they'll cut it down again, and you always wish you had that many characters. Like, there's never an excuse to have less characters. You always wish, like when Mortal Kombat was like, "We're gonna give
Kinda
you
like Pokemon, too.
12,000 characters," and they said no, like you get 6. I don't know.
Street Fighter's pretty good about that. On Street Fighter, there's always like 3,000 characters to play, and you're just like, I can't. There are too many faces. I don't know where Juri Han is. Where is she? Ah, I found her.
I love you, Jerry. Mwah.
Yeah, Pokemon went through the same problem because like they had like that original game, and like it was great, and everyone's like, oh, it's like such cool creative characters, and then like made another one, like, we'll throw in more, and then like by 2 or 3 games in, they're like, oh shit, we have so many.
Right.
I don't know, and they started cutting back, and everyone's like, give us more. They're like, we can't.
The problem is
now it's just crazy.
the problem isn't that there are more characters. The problem is that the more characters are just reskinned old characters. Like even in the new Street Fighters, like Evil Cammy. Like do we need Evil Cammy?
Yeah.
I feel like
Her moveset is completely different, Jesse. She has completely different
doesn't matter.
specials.
Doesn't matter.
Just
It's
cause
stupid.
she's a bison doll that looks suspiciously like Cammy.
I feel like it's really strange, and I feel like games like that would benefit from what a lot of games do, which is like literally, all right, you get a new costume, and maybe with that new costume comes new move sets, or you can like keep the standard characters and but you can change them a little bit, which I think would be swell. Eventually, having too many characters, and I think some people in chat are right. Like too many of the same is not good.
Yeah.
So it's who needs that garbage? But we'll see. I mean, Criken, are you really excited about Smash? Is that your bag?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I got the Wii U. I actually did. I was like one of the 6. I got the Wii U, and I got it like purely because I love Smash Brothers, and I guess I was getting it for Monster Hunter 2. Like, those are like the 2 games that I wanted to play on it, and they're like the 2 that they've been like teasing out the longest because that's like what they're hoping to make the most money on. So I'm kind of like reserving judgment till I actually play it. But based on the characters they've announced so far, I think they're kind of embracing like the silliness. At the same time, the fact that they're like holding like a tournament during E3 like shows that they also care about like the whole esports scene, or at least they're starting to treat it more as like a, you know, people actually want to play the game competitively, and they're actually building the infrastructure for that, which I think is cool, and I kind of respect that about them. So, you know, we'll see.
I love going to Evo because I'm a huge, like, even though I suck at fighting games, I like watching the good people who are, you know,
right.
And so when I go to Evo, I love watching all the different tournaments they have. But Smash is the craziest tournament because everyone else is really like in the zone, just focused, like I'm gonna unleash my rage on my competitor. Smash is this weird sort of like group of people. Everyone's jovial and everyone's happy and everyone's really impressed by these moves. And I'm just like,
and supportive of each other.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't know that I like that. I'm like, I want to see people hate each other at a fighting tournament and get like really into it. And then after it's over, be like, thanks, man, that was cool. You know, shake hands. And Smash is just like, good job, everybody. You did it today. Smiles were had all around. And I was like, I hate all of you. It's really weird, and I don't know why I feel that way, but I just do. I just can't.
Because it's the closest you'll ever get to being like part of a crew that does, you know, cage fighting.
But as a Smash Brothers
That's
player,
it. Yeah.
No, not with Smash. With like Street Fighter and things like that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know, you feel that kind of weird, like, crazy mob mentality when you're in that group that's watching those games. You're just like, oh, like losing your mind.
I almost got in a fight with a kid, and I feel like the Warp Zone guy saved me. Where I was, there's a player, Chris G, who apparently everyone hates, and because everyone hated him, I was like, best player 2014 or 2013 or whatever, and I'm like going crazy, like he's amazing. And this guy behind me was yelling at me. I was like, shut up, man, you suck. And everyone's just, it was great. We got in a fight, like a verbal fight over a guy I don't even know who everyone hates, and I love that stuff. And then at the end, I was like, no, I don't even know who the hell that guy is. You win. Like, I was like, I don't want to fight you. He's like, man, I will take you outside. I was like, it's not that big a deal to me. But all right. Wow. I love that kind of thing. Mind you, it's in Vegas, and everyone's horribly drunk and probably lost all their money. And so everyone's just, by the last night, everyone's in a fit of rage. It's like, violence. It's a blast. Go to Evo, kids. You'll love it. It's a lot of fun.
Vegas.
Let's see. Anything else? Oh, and then Wolf Among Us, but no one's played that yet. I don't know. I think you said
I'll play it
right. Yeah. Like
somebody did tweet me and say that it was like about an hour again. And I was like,
that's really sad. That's really sad.
Again.
Like
that upsets me.
So I think that's it for what I've been playing and what we've been playing this week. So I think we should move on to news.
Yeah.
News you can use. We don't need another commercial because we took one. So let's talk.
Oh wait.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just remembered something else I played.
Uh-oh.
Is it too late? Can we go back?
No. Go.
Okay. I started talking about this before I got disconnected, but like I'm at USC now. Like I'm studying game design, and like one of my teachers actually.
Well.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just the authority on games now.
Can you design me a game where we beat up Criken for thinking he's cool for being a game designer?
You know, I wouldn't, but it sounds like, you know,
Criken Smash. That's
the
game.
I'm not gonna do that, but
it's a game where I use Dodger as a mallet to smash. It's and you're like the little moles that pop up, and I have to keep smashing you. That's the game.
Okay.
We just made $1 million. You're welcome.
Can't promise that, but you know, I'll put it on the back burner. See if it comes up later.
On the whiteboard.
Thank you.
Yeah, on the whiteboard. Yeah, Criken Smash.
Put it on the fridge, Jesse. Right here. So like everyone will see it.
A+.
Like my teachers actually like released the game, and then like he found out that I did like this whole YouTube thing. And he's like, I gotta show it to him, and like he showed me his game.
No.
And it's like the weirdest thing. It's called Rehearsals and Returns.
What?
And it's like you play as a guy that travels like just this silhouette, and you travel through history, collecting love and hate speech bubbles. And then at the end of the level, you encounter a historical figure, and you can tell them like to their face what you think about them. And it's just like the strangest thing. And like you meet like Mao Zedong and like,
oh my god, Jesse, that sounds like
the best game. You know what I think about you, jamming Mao? Like, and like not
Edward
much,
Snowden,
actually.
You can be like, you don't smell nice. And then he's like, that's fair. And then like you move on to the next guy, and like you say something to his face too. It's the strangest game. and I've been trying to wrap my head around it.
Wait, and you can decide what you say to them?
Yeah, it's like you collect these speech bubbles along the way, and like if you collect like 3 hates, then like you build up a really mean sentence, and you get to him, and you're like, "Fuck you, Harry Houdini," and he's like, "Oh Jesus, yeah, okay."
That's incredible. That's an incredible game. I've always wanted to tell Harry Houdini how I felt. You know what, Houdini? Your tricks weren't that good. Fuck you. He just cries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's really weird. Like, there's all these indie games I've been exposed to since coming to USC that like I never would have played
Does that
otherwise.
happen a lot? Can I ask you, does that happen a lot with your professors? Do your professors keep finding out that like you're YouTube famous and they're like, "Oh my god, I gotta get him, play my game"?
I mean, they don't like sell me their game and be like, you know, make me famous. Like, it's not like that so much. It's more like I kind of come at the whole game design from the perspective of like a YouTuber. So like I know what it's like, you know, to play these games and see how people react to them. So I can kind of give them advice based on what, you know, the audience on YouTube at least would think of their game. And I just like generally consult in that way, which is kind of fun.
Can I tell you, you're going about this wrong. Next time a professor says, "Will you play my game?" you say, "Will you give me an A?" And then you leave it at that. And that's how you get through college.
And then I just stop talking and we stare at each other and he just slides the USB my way.
Right
and I nod
across.
and I leave the room. Yeah. Sounds like a plan.
College.
What's that? Have you guys played that alpaca game?
What?
No. Oh, wait. Oh, is it like the dating thing?
Alpaca Evolution? Is that what it's called?
Oh,
what?
not what I was thinking about.
Oh my god, what? It's another Dodger game.
It's a Dodger game. Yes, you're an alpaca and you're killing other alpacas, and the more alpacas that you kill, you like suck up their souls and evolve into like a different like being, and then you slowly evolve into like a more advanced crazy form of an alpaca. Yeah, Alpaca Evolution. I think this is it.
I need to type
Oh
that
my
down.
god, these pictures are so crazy.
Alpaca Evolution, huh? Alright. I found another game this week called, what is the name of this thing? It's a Flash game called Kissing.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Built with processing and processing.
I think I know the guy that made that.
It is a game where 2 players try to kiss each other.
It's
Great.
so good. So,
Okay.
But it's like these weird tongues, and the tongues are like...
I've linked a good picture that really represents everything about Alpaca Evolution.
Well, that is cute.
Anyway, so yeah, kissing game.
oh god.
Oh, it's just a game where you kiss. Like, that's the whole point, is you try to kiss. It's 2 mouths.
But it's so difficult.
Yeah,
it's so hard.
it's like a quap game, but you're trying to kiss.
And your tongue is like a giant snake. It's like, and you just...
It's so
like,
weird.
Oh,
It's the
it's very
perfect.
cool. I love it.
It's the perfect game for you and Sam to play on. The internet would love it.
Hold on, I gotta call my boyfriend really quick.
We gotta play a game called Kissing because I hear it's really cool.
I heard that kissing is a great game to play.
So all right, are we good? Are we good for news now?
Yes.
Yes.
Delightful. Let's do this thing. Biggest news this week. Well, actually, there's a bunch of news this week, but the biggest news, hands down, no more Connect, guys. We don't need it.
Yeah, but that's been a thing for like a little bit now.
It has. But one of the things that I think is great is that all the comments afterwards, we've known for some time they're going to get rid of Connect.
Better with Connect. Better with...
Yeah, the comments now, though, that I think are the biggest news about it, is everyone saying things like, well, this is good. It's good for gamers. It's good for developers because they don't have to worry about Connect. It's good for... And it's one of those things where Criken's right. A year ago, Connect was the shiznitty bomb, zip, zap, zap. And now it's like, oh, no, it was never that great. Which I think is the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard. Because they sold you the Xbox with the basis of like, this is going to be everything. The Kinect will tell you if you're scared or not. It'll show you what you look like in 3D vision. It will contact the police if you need escorts. Like, it's crazy. And then they're like, oh, we don't want to do that anymore.
I think they apparently switched heads of like the gaming section of Microsoft, and I think it's when they switched like leadership roles that the guy was like, all right, I gotta like do something that the people want, and was like, here, we're listening to you. Have an Xbox for $400.
Yeah. Which is like a really big
no
step.
Connect.
Jesse's right. They did push that really hard for like
real hard,
like many years, and now they're just like, I don't know. It's weird. I guess
Microsoft
like new technology they're developing.
Yeah, Microsoft corporate vice president Phil Harrison is literally said stuff like, we wanted to give Xbox gamers the choice. Last week we made a very significant announcement, right? And he's like, but it's good. It's good for developers. It's good for consumers. And we're committed to continuing this, this choice. That's not what you said a year ago. And I guess you're right. It's probably a new guy who's just like, time to change things up a bit, which is okay, great. But you're found like the thing that set you apart from PlayStation was like, we were gonna like, oh no, but this is gonna be great. This Kinect is gonna change the way you play. It's gonna change everything about your games, and that's why we're better than PlayStation. Really, you're just now another PlayStation console that has Xbox Windows things on it. I want to know how does this benefit me in the long run? Yeah, that's what I want to know.
I guess it's just like, it's just now you get the choice, right? What makes me laugh is the people in the comment section being like, oh great, now we're never gonna get Kinect games, because the only way we were gonna get them is if everybody was getting Kinect. And then the response is something akin to, we weren't getting Kinect games anyway.
Yeah, everyone's like, good.
Nothing has come out for Kinect. It's just like, oh god.
It's weird that's I don't know, the one Kinect game they did have, no one played. Kinect Sportsmajig or whatever it was.
Sports, yeah.
No one played that. And so, I think that probably they look at their profits and were like, yeah, no, all right, we get it. No one cares. But I'm still going to use my Kinect. I'm still going to one day get it to go to Bing. Xbox, Bing! It will do it one day. One day it'll show up to Bing. Until then, Xbox Google works all the time.
Do you think that people are getting in trouble because all of the news articles are saying PS4 is winning? And so they're like, how are we going to get people to buy more Xbox Ones?
I think that's probably taken into consideration. But I think another interesting thing here is looking at these articles. Like I selected 3 articles I thought went together well, and I think it goes with Xbox trying to sell stuff. Is that GameSpot posted 3 articles this week that are totally separate. One was posted the 22nd, one was posted the 21st, another was posted the 22nd. Totally separate articles. All these articles are exactly related in like subtle, it's all connected ways. So the first article is, Sony says PS4, unlike their previous consoles, is already contributing profit. So that probably relates to Xbox. Xbox is like, oh shit, we probably should start selling consoles now. And then there's another article that says GameStop made $68 million in profit in the last 3 months, up 24% over the last year, right? Again, you would assume that's because consoles. People are going to GameStop to buy consoles. Then, the best part, totally unrelated article posted a day before those 2 articles, U.S. gamers spent more money on hardware, but less overall in the first quarter of 2014. So, all those articles connected tell us one thing, that people are buying lots of PS4s, more than Xbox Ones. They're going to places that, like stores, and they're not buying them online. But more importantly, they're not buying any games for them. They're buying the consoles to have the consoles, and then not getting anything else. And I think that says a lot. Like, everyone's like, oh man, we're doing so well. The PlayStation 4 is selling so well. If no one's buying any games for it, how well is that actually doing in the end? Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. And I think
do you think that's them buying it in the store versus buying it online, like the store? Like, because now they have streaming, right? So you think they're just buying it later when the game comes out, as opposed to actually going to the store and getting it there?
Well, I think game-wise, I think, they're probably buying the console online or in the store or whatever. But what that proves is that people are going out to rush to buy these consoles. But then the next article says, literally, everyone's buying consoles, no one's buying games. And I think that says a lot about where we're at as an industry right now, where it's, look at all of our new cool, awesome consoles and technology, and there's nothing you can do on them. and the things you
Right, it's
can
been a
do on
pretty
them are
weak
junk.
like launch.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they haven't really had many
Super
good
weak
launch titles
Still.
for like any of them, and we're still waiting. Yeah, we're still waiting for the next gen games because like the next gen console, and there's nothing next gen for us to play. So it's fizzled out, and I don't know how they're gonna make up for that. Like I don't know why they decided to release it before they had game ready.
It's very strange, and one of the things I think is interesting is that many of the games that were supposed to be ready, they push back to polish and like refine and make better. And I'm always curious if that's because they wanted to actually polish and refine and make it look better, or if they needed to change things to fit with what the console actually launched with compared to dev kits. Because I imagine dev kits promised a lot of cool things, like especially Watch Dogs. If you look at the early Watch Dogs footage, it's incredible. That's
totally different.
That's 3 years old, and you're like, that's not even the same game. And I feel like they probably had to refine it to mean that they could play. You could play it with what the console came with.
Cut back on a lot of stuff. It's true.
Yeah,
it's a sad thing.
It's very strange, and I guess that goes back to also poor Wii U. You know, looking at Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs was their big title. They were hyping that thing at E3. I vividly remember their entire area was like Watch Dogs, and then theirs is getting pushed back until like August. Something crazy like that.
That's way too late.
There's no point. Why even release it then? Like, first off, no one on Wii U is going to be like, I'll hold out. Like, if you really want Watch Dogs, no one's going to be like, I will hold out and wait because I got to have my touchscreen compatibility. No one's going to do that. No one. And it's just depressing.
It sucks, too, because I feel like Watch Dogs, of any of the games that they have for their console, that would actually work. The fact that you're hacking, it would make sense for you to have, like, a little mobile device in your hand that you can, like, you know, like do a mini game, solve things, get bonuses and all that. Like, I don't know why.
Didn't do that at all. Nope.
I know. That sucks.
I don't know. It's interesting that that's sort of the way that things are going right now. There's lots of consoles, not a lot of stuff to play on them. The exact opposite. Yeah. I
think this holiday season is going to change that a lot too, because like they obviously, like, the big time for games is the holiday season, and it sounds like you said, like, because they didn't make it for the launch last holiday season, they're like, well, we'll put it a year off, and now there's this huge like blockade of next gen games that'll come out in like the October, November, December period.
Yeah, man. So. October on is like lots of stuff typically.
There was a bunch of articles this week that I was curious about, and I was curious what you guys thought, because everyone has different reasoning behind this. Why do you think it is that summer break, when a lot of kids have off, they don't release very many games?
I've wondered this before too.
And I don't know if it's because their assumption is that kids are gonna go play outside. I would think that if I was a game company, I would fight that and be like, why go outside when you can play our new game? You've got the free time. And I've always been curious why that is. And a lot of people said it has to do with like sales figures and different things, but I don't believe that at all. If you look at recent games, they've been selling like crazy, and we're just getting into the months where people have off. Where a lot of kids in American schools don't have school.
It's kind of I think it's kind of the same mentality as like the whole summer movie craze. Like, you know, the summer movies are like the big, you know, like superhero movies, Godzilla, like the kind of mindless entertainment stuff, and like then Oscar season comes around, and like that's more, you know, the, you know, award winning, like they go for like the nitty gritty, like deep stuff. And I think it's a little bit similar in games in that this is kind of the time to thrive for smaller games and kind of like more faddy type games, because it's like, since it's the summer, everyone's playing things. Actually, for me, I always end up playing MMOs in the summer, and I guess a lot of MMOs have come out recently, so this is like their time to shine. So I think depending on what genre you're talking about, there's different like shine periods. Like horror games, it's October, you know, like near Halloween, that, you know, that period. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say. I mean, Watch Dogs did just come out, so it's not like they're holding off all games. I don't know. It's interesting though.
Well, I feel like because Watch Dogs was pushed back though. Like a lot of the games that are coming out now, like if you look at the games that came out this week, like in our new releases, literally every game that came out this week came out today. There's hardly anything the rest of the week. Very few things, and most of those are, like you said, indie. So like Among the Sleep is the 29th, and that's a very indie. Like most of those are PC indie games. Very, you know, it's interesting.
I wonder if it has to do with trying to reach a wider audience, because there are plenty of people that will go outside. There's plenty of people like us who would stay inside all summer, but maybe in more the kind of fall and winter months, there's even more people that are just kind of staying in and looking for things to do because of snow or rain.
Yeah, it's one of those things I just don't get.
It's like award season too. So for now, it's like E3, and this is when the game companies hype up their next big games. They don't want to release them right around E3. They want to, tease it out so that you're looking forward to it when it comes out. Then later on in the year, we'll have stuff like Indiecade, which is like, the indie festival. And that's why a lot of indie games are coming out now, actually, because the deadline actually for Indiecade is in like the next, 30 days, I think. So a lot of indie game companies are releasing their indie games now / until October, when Indiecade is, and that's when they're kind of trying to ride the crest into the public awareness. Let me think. I think festivals definitely play a big role since that's kind of what a lot of developers look for. I agree though that from like a YouTubers or like just like a pure market perspective, like a lot of people play games most I think over the summer. So it's surprising.
Because
it's not the olden times anymore where kids are expected to help out on the farm. I did have to help out on the farm, but
see, I was literally about to say like it's not 200 years ago, Dodger, but I guess for you, it was.
I had to help out on the farm during the summer.
I did help out on the farm. I had 23 brothers and sisters. We lost all 23. It was just me.
And every time I would complain, my dad would be like, "This is the reason summer break exists, is because it's crop season." And I'd be like,
that's incredible, because it's true. That's absolutely true, and it's beautiful. Smart man, your dad. All right.
my daddy.
I feel like we can't complain about consoles and how junky consoles are doing without complaining about the PC Master Race and how just horrible they are. And an incredible article that I think is just wonderful. Alienware says its Steam machine will be its least profitable system. And the best part about this article from PC Gamer is that they keep updating it. So the first update's like, well, the original story implied that Alienware wasn't confident with the success of its machine, but it actually is. And then the second update is like, no, so they say, no, they're very optimistic. So like they keep backtracking, but the original statement is very solid in
clear.
That,
yeah,
they don't think they're going to make a lot of money off a Steam machine. And I feel like if you look at comments made by other Steam machine creators, very few people are like, oh yeah, no, this is it. This is going to take us to the next level. Because it's not Steam machine. Again, we said it weeks and months ago. Seems like an awful idea, just a shitty idea. Because I still, why would you just not, like, even the Steam machine things that are in it, you could get even cheaper building your own PC, or even going to like any of the 8 million PC building websites now.
Yeah.
And just have a computer that can do a million other things, plus play games. I don't know that it makes sense. And I feel like this is one of those really stupid decisions that comes with, like, our giant game catalog plus PC hardware is so much better. And it feels dumb. It feels dumb, and I don't like it.
I just don't understand the point of having this OS in so many different companies' hardware.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think the reason Alienware, or probably a factor of why they're like so hesitant, is because before, like, they've kind of been like the premier, like, big gaming laptop / PC,
right.
And they've gotten all the market off there. But now they have so much competition because they've given this iOS to so many different manufacturers. There's going to be so much more competition in the market. So any one company is less likely to come out on top as the premier Steam machine maker. So I can understand why they wouldn't be excited, and I'm not sure if it actually will be successful or not. There's like a lot of stuff that goes into that I can't really predict. But like, that's why I think at least individual manufacturers are a little hesitant.
It's just Steam trying to get into the console market, which is fine, but I don't know that it makes sense. I still don't understand the concept behind it. Even the concept behind their mouse, I don't understand. Like, everything down to its basic core, I don't understand. And
I played. Actually, I used their controller at GDC this spring. It's like
That's what I meant,
it has like
controller,
haptic
sorry.
feedback. Yeah, they have instead of like thumb pads, they actually have like touch sensors that that like vibrate with every movement you do. So like every single like touch you make, you feel that it like return the power almost to your finger, which is interesting, and like it feels very unique. I personally couldn't use it as intuitively as I could like a real thumbstick, but it felt interesting, and I feel like if it was perfected, it could be a really interesting and new way to play games. But like I played like Portal with it, and I could not turn and run at the same speed as I could.
That's
with like
what I would worry about. Yeah, is that like it just wouldn't be as effective.
Yeah, that's one of the things I always notice about playing on a console versus playing on a PC. It never feels as responsive as when you're using a mouse and keyboard. You're always going a little bit slower, and I feel like when you have to use things that aren't like the tactile sensation of a joystick or whatever, or a thumb pad, and you're pressing in an indented thing, I feel like that would make it even slower because you aren't exactly sure where you're going. There's nothing there to tell you like, oh yes, no, you've gone diagonal up perfectly or whatever. I don't know that I like it. Then again, I don't know that I like any. I feel like this is just a ridiculous cash grab, and I don't understand why. Like, I still don't get it. I still don't understand why you would develop something that is going into the console market when the consoles that already exist are just as good, if not better, and people who have those consoles are going to look at Steam Machine and be like, what the shit is that? So who from the console market's going to buy it, and who from the PC market's going to buy it? Where is the sweet spot of people who are like, oh yeah, no, that's for me? I don't know.
Good old Gabe, man.
Yeah.
Good old Gabe and his pleasure palace, just making weird choices.
Yeah.
Pleasure palace. Oh god.
I don't know. I'm sure there's people out there who would love
Imagine
that
it.
Who would love it.
Yeah.
Who would love to join Gabe in his pleasure palace with all of his consoles. You guys can work your way through the Ouya up to the Steam box. Because that's where I think it's going to go. That's Steam-O. That's where it's going to be. Ouya and Steam box are going to play very well together. And, yeah, garbage. And chat's like, the purpose is a test to see if a market's there. Spoiler! It's not there, guys. No one's going to buy that thing.
That's a lot of money to throw into a test. Like, that's a lot of different companies putting a lot of hardware into a test.
Yeah, I don't. It's
yeah. I haven't figured out my stance on it exactly yet. I see where you're coming from though, like saying like the Ouya tried for a similar thing, and clearly didn't work. Except they tried to go for like the mobile, like it's mobile but not mobile, and it's like, well, then why would I have it?
Right.
And so that didn't really do so well. But with Steam, I guess it depends how cheap they can get it down to, and what sort of like, because if they have like in browser sort of stuff with the Steam box, like the Steam consoles, I guess, then it would be like having a computer. I know it definitely wouldn't do everything a computer would do, but like for I guess what you would have in your living room. I mean, it's meant to be the living room appliance. Like if you're playing on your computer, you'll be like, you know, in your own space. But if you're in the living room, you might have friends over, you might have family nearby. It's more of I think of like a collaborative sort of gaming experience than a PC game, because PC gamers don't really have someone next to their shoulder playing on like the other controls as much or nearly as much as console gamers do. And there's like recently been that move away from like, you know, the split screen local co-op in consoles. So I guess that's why Steam is going for it. I'm not sure if the market's still there, like you said, but I think that's more of what they're going for.
Yes.
Good point, Criken. I have to pee so bad. I apologize to all of you. I'm going to walk away and pee because otherwise you're going to watch me fidget for another 20 minutes before our next break.
19 minutes. You can hold it for 19 minutes. Or she can run. Girl's gone. Girl's gone. No,
right.
I think the thing that I really, really just... I don't even know. Like, it's not that I hate the concept. It's not that I dislike trying something new. The thing that really gets to me is on a financial / economic sort of view, why? I don't, because I want to know who would buy it. And every time I get answers, it's always hypothetical. Like, we know the people who want to, like you were saying, like who want to have a console experience, but with their PC games. Most PC games are on consoles now. Except for the ones that are like you use a mouse and you're doing like Civilization, which there's no way in hell you get me to Civilization with a controller. It would never happen. And I don't know who the target audience is. Like, I don't... if they could show me how it would be worth their time and energy, I would be like, that's a great idea. Good job, guys. But I'd rather them focus their bajillions of dollars on making Steam, like, awesome work. Like, not crash or do weird things where it's like, sorry, Steam's offline right now, so you can't, you know, play that game. What? Things like that would be swell.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But
yeah, I guess that's definitely a good point that, like, the established PC market are happy with their PCs, and they are kind of also the same target audience that they're going for to buy the Steam boxes, like the Steam consoles.
Right.
So it seems a little strange. Yeah, I wouldn't buy another PC gaming experience for my living room when I just have it here, unless I have like enough people coming over that it's like, let's all play Civ together, and for some reason, you know, maybe it works out like that.
Exactly. I don't know who would want it. I keep, again, I'll say it again. I have even asked chat every time we've talked about this on the podcast. I'm always like, who is the target audience for this? Because console gamers have their consoles already. As we talked about in the previous articles, people are buying PlayStation 4 like crazy, right? They have their consoles, and you have PC gamers. They have their PCs. The only people who this is a target for is people who don't have anything yet, or people who are about to transition from something like, I have an old PC and I might want to get a new PC. Maybe I'll get a Steam machine. But again, it all comes down to the fact that a console gamer is going to want a console they know, that they know they can get stuff on, that they know their friends are going to have, like, oh, yeah, no, I got my Xbox tag and all my achievements things, so they're going to go stick with that. And a PC gamer, they're going to be like, well, I could either get a new PC or a Steam machine, but I'd rather be able to do, like, write up my paper and, you know, do other things on my PC.
Well, I think there's two positives that we're not mentioning. One is like the Steam community and infrastructure is already there. Like their library of games, and like they already have the community there. And secondly, they're a lot more versatile and kind of like flexible, I think, than real consoles. Because like, well, we're getting like a major, you know, the PS4 like once every how many years? 8? How many years was it? I honestly have no idea.
7, 8, I think, since the last
7.
console?
Yeah, like 7 or 8 years. Well, this kind of iterates with the manufacturer. So as often as new technology comes out, you can get a new console. And the way they're hoping, I think, is that it'll be, you know, after the 8-year cycle of consoles dies, because I guess technology is developing so fast, they're hoping that, you know, by the time we get the next big thing, the Steam box or the Steam consoles will be a lot more adaptable to that technology than making a huge new, you know, like horizontal release by the big manufacturers like Sony or Microsoft.
I don't know. I still don't buy it. You're right. You're absolutely right on those points, and I still am just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
buying it. I don't know who will buy it. Like, that's my thing. Is I just, if it turns out to be awesome, then I will jump on that bandwagon so quickly and be the first one to be like, I was wrong. I was totally wrong. I just don't see how it's possible, and I feel like I just don't understand it. Whatever. Sue me. One last news story, because I found this one and I loved it. This is the one in which Dodger, what did I say about this article? I wrote a little quote there. What did I say?
You said, it was so funny. Oh, Tom Abernathy is a fucking moron, and then a link to.
That's right. There's an article this week, which isn't loading for me right now, which is sad. But basically,
would you like me to read the title?
Yes.
Game narratives still have a long way to go, says Wolfenstein dev.
So there's this huge article right now about, you know, creating new stories and making stories better and making all these different leaps and jumps in storytelling and gaming, which I agree. I think for a long time there was this trend of the only good story you could tell was in an RPG, and then those stories transitioned more into other types of games, and so you ended up with people trying crazy things like BioShock, and, you know, even in Wolfenstein they're like, we're going to tell you an alternate reality war, and all these, you know, all these different things that are very good. You even had things like my brain just died. He runs and he jumps and he flies planes and his friend's an old
Mario.
dude. No.
Yoshi.
Uncharted. That's what I was thinking.
Uncharted.
He runs and he jumps and he flies planes.
And he has an old dude. And he has an old dude.
Uncharted.
Uncharted. So like even games like that, which were promoted, I don't know if you guys remember the Uncharted commercials, like Uncharted 3 when that came out, or maybe it was 2. Literally the commercials were like, it's a game I can play with my girlfriend, right? Like I don't know if you remember that, but it was literally like Sony was like, these games are great. It's just like watching a movie, and you can, and I think that's sort of where gaming was going to. And then we reached a point where games became story, and we're going to lead you through the story. And people were like, well, I reject that. And so now they're trying to find their ground again, where it's like, where's the common place between a game and something with an actual, you know, good storytelling. And so I'm trying to get this article to load. Hopefully one of you will have a comment on that. So if this doesn't load, I can still...
I do.
Yeah.
I think it really depends on the type of game you're going for, and I think story definitely is important in general, but it's not always important because there are plenty of really great games that don't do the whole linear story that's like a very engrossing... I mean, there are games that have like a linear story that's very engrossing, that's like, you know, you'll start out in one place and you kind of know what you want to know what happens, so you keep playing, you know, make your options, and you progress so you can find out what happens. And then there's games like Minecraft where it's like very immersion, and they don't have a story they hand you. It says, look, these are the tools, make something from it yourself. And that's kind of where a lot of games have dabbled in, and a lot of games have been very successful in. So I don't necessarily think storytelling is obsolete, but I also don't think it's like a required thing. So
oh no, go for it.
I was going to say, I can read the Tom Abernathy quote.
Can you please do that?
Like.
So anyway, in this article where they're talking about, you know, Wolfenstein or whatever, and they're talking about how, you know, we've got a long way to go with storytelling, and storytelling in games is good, but it's not great, and we could do better. They then quote Tom Abernathy, who is the mind behind like Halo Reach, and he's the lead writer at Riot Games right now, and he said,
plot is highly overrated.
To which I said, Tom Abernathy is a fucking moron. I fundamentally think that that's the stupidest thing a person could say. Plot is what drives a game. He might say story might be overrated, and that might be a possibility, but plot is what drives a game, dum-dum. Mario without the princess getting kidnapped and ending in the warp zone thing, there wouldn't be a Mario Brothers. Even Donkey Kong, where it's like, I'm throwing barrels. The plot is there's a girl up at the top and you have to save her, dummy. Like, plot is different than story. And and to say that plot's overrated, here's a perfect example. Riot Games, League of Legends, is a game that had no story and developed a story so people could understand the character's world better. Like, there's a lore behind League of Legends now that didn't exist in the beginning, and the reason why it's there is because people wanted it. So to say, like, story and plot are overrated and we don't need that, that's insane. People need it because that's what drives us to be invested in things.
Well, it's just like what we were saying earlier about Watch Dogs. Like, there's a completely different sensation to playing a character who has no character,
right,
and a character where we have some sort of a connection with them, whether it's because of their story, their personality. Like, we need something to latch onto and connect with so that we really care about that character.
Yeah, I think there's a point to be made, though, that there's, like, again, the different type of genres of games. Like, for a game like a free-roaming game like Watch Dogs or Grand Theft Auto, where you're playing as these characters and you're given so many choices in context that tells you so much about the character, you need a character to be based on. But in a game like what are they even called? Like League of Legends and Dota. I forget. I just blanked on the actual. Like,
MOBAs. Yeah,
like the MOBA, the whole like MOBA genre. The characters all kind of derive from the feeling you play as the character, like between their abilities and like their move speed and like how you build them. That is the core of the game. That's how you feel when you're playing them, and you know the sleight of hand stuff you do in order to master them. That I don't think necessarily requires a plot, because you just jump in as these characters, and by just feeling them out, you get a sense for who they are and how they interact with other people. I'm not saying plot is. I mean, I agree that plot should be used in other games, but like in those styled games, I don't think it's as important.
And I would say that I think that you're right. Like, there's some games where plot. I mean, like Samurai Gun, for example, is a game that has no plot. You're just samurai and you murder each other, and that's it. But those games are very single layered. Like, you get what you get because that's what this is, right? And those are like, you're right. There are different levels of gameplay, of gaming. And I think, though, that it says a lot about the fans of something where we as players eventually require a plot. Like, you can create a game, and you can say, like, you know, this is Samurai Gun, the game where you're just samurai and you murder each other. But eventually, if that game caught on and that game became very popular, and that game was like, everyone's really, who's this ninja and who's this ninja? Eventually, they'd have a website that would have little story tidbits. And eventually, they'd have lore to that game because people want to know more about that world. And I think to say that it's unnecessary negates the fact that to many people it's absolutely necessary. That's what drives people to play. People want to know that. It just feels like in some cases you may not need it, but it's always there. Like, plot always exists, and if one doesn't exist in the game, you'll make your own. I remember making, like, cutting out the Mega Man, like, figures that they had in Nintendo Power, and making my own story with Mega Man figures, because there was no story in barely any story in Mega Man 1. And so it'd be like, oh yeah, Cuts Man, let's do this! And it was fun. And it's because, you know, I wanted to get myself involved more in that world. And I think that it goes to show that the guy who's the lead writer of League of Legends is like, no, we don't need that. But it's definitely needed in your game because people have created it. You now have lore, history of your world, and the reason why people go to fight in the League of Legends. Like, that's an unnecessary thing. Why does it exist? Because people wanted it, because people needed it. And to say that it's
true.
I mean, you know.
I think it really depends on the player, too. And like you said, if people really think there's a need for it, then they'll create it themselves. And other players, you know, they'll play, like, let's say a fighting game. They'll play the fighting game and they'll play as a character for, like, 10 years and never be interested in, like, you know, their backstory or, like, really, they don't think about that when they're playing the character. But there are other other players that will fall in love with the style or the characters of a game. And then if there is no backstory, they'll create one themselves. So I think it's really on a person-by-person basis. And I'm not sure of the actual context of Tom's quote, but, like, maybe he was talking about how
extremely out of context,
necessary.
which makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't worry. I don't care that it's out of context. I just like getting on him because I like anytime anyone's like, I don't like story, I'm like, fuck you, because that's my thing. So
yeah, I mean, it is mine too. So I definitely agree that, like, for me at least, story is very important, but it isn't necessarily for everyone, and that's kind of why, like, I mean, like, League of Legends is the #1 most played, like, online game, I guess, right now. And until recently, like you said, they didn't have a story, and I guess that was his point, or it may have been his point, that he was saying, like, it's not necessary for a good game and it's overrated in that sense, but if there is, you know, enough people that want it, then it's a smart thing to do, and you absolutely should.
But I think something that I would say in response to that is, comparatively, if we could get like a pie chart or some form of graph to say games that have story that have become successful over time and games that don't have story that have become successful, what is the percentage? And I'd be willing to go out of my way to say that story games are always in the, like, you know, higher percentage, 51 and above. Like, I'm convinced of this fact because League of Legends is an aberration because people played that because it was what they needed at the time. Like, people needed that game where it was an online community that you could play with other people that didn't require a lot of time but required skill. And people needed that. It came right after the whole big Warcraft craze where everyone was just like, Warcraft, and it's online, and everyone's together, and then people got burnt out by that because the time required, like, WoW just kept increasing it. Like, you want to do dailies? Here's 20 hours of dailies to do. And it's insane things. And so people were burnt out, and they said, you know, I want to play online. I want to do stuff online. This is something entirely new. And I think they jumped on that bandwagon because it's fun. It's fun. It's quick. You aren't required to put a lot of time and effort into it. And if you want to, great, you'll become an amazing player. But it's not needed. And I think that's they hit it right when it was like that was a perfect time for that game to exist. And there are other games very similar to it that didn't blow up as well. So I would say they should be thankful that they're very lucky that they got a game when they did, and that maybe plot and story might not be where I would focus on that. I don't know.
Okay.
I would simply say that they were lucky. But I'm trying to think of other games that don't have a story or plot that were very popular because I can't.
Minecraft.
Minecraft story. They made one because people got bored.
I disagree. I think
people made their own stories. People
exactly.
People did
That's the point.
Which is the point.
They give you the
game,
tools,
right?
and you're not given a story by the developers. You're given the tools to make your own stories. And that's like, as a kid, I mean, I originally got into games because I'd play a game like Banjo-Kazooie, and like, although I played through the whole story of that game, I would just go back because the worlds were so diverse and interesting that I like create my own narratives using the characters, and that became why I would return to it. And Minecraft does similar things, and all they have to do is just give you, the tools for survival, the tools for aesthetic. You can develop your own castle using whatever aesthetic you want. The tools to go into the Nether and explore this unnecessary. You don't have to go there to play the game, but if you want to, you can go in and do all these optional things. And they had like an end to the game with the whole like Ender Dragon, right? But like I really don't think that there is an end to Minecraft. There's no like objective. There's no plot. It's just you're dropped into an unknown land and you're left at your own devices.
I think the thing about Minecraft that makes it so well is it borders on that Lego sort of creation where you're not just creating a story, you're building things in a world, and you can use all sorts of different tools to do that. And so I think, again, this goes back to the whole discussion of specific types of games. Like, this is a game like, even like Peggle, like, there are different genres of gaming, and so sometimes, like we were talking about Samurai Gun, sometimes the plot's just not needed, sometimes it's just fun. But eventually there's a story to tell, and eventually people want to know that story. So I think most people are willing to overlook the lack of a story in a game until they can't anymore. And I think that's what it comes down to.
What about a game like DayZ, where you're dropped in, again, as like a survivor, and there's never been any effort to give a context of why the zombies are there or anything about that. All the stories develop from a person-by-person basis on surviving and meeting other people. And that's kind of how the community has blossomed. There isn't any attempt to explain the history of it or an objective. It's all just interpersonal.
But it's a plot. Like
that's a plot. Yeah.
We're getting back to remember, this is the difference between a story and a plot. Like, the story is why, the plot is what happens, and I think in that case the plot of that game is you are stranded in this place and you're going to make your own survival story. Right? And the story develops off of that. And I think that it's one of those things that is needed. Like, you need a plot for that. If there was no context of why you were doing what you were doing, then, in that case, it's you need to survive. That's the plot, is like, you're a guy, you need to survive, and other people are trying to survive too, and you're going to come to heads with those people, and only one of you can survive. Like, that kind of story. And so that's the plot. And I feel like that's needed in that case. Like, if there was none of that in DayZ, if you had no context for what you were doing, people would be like, well, this is the weirdest walking sim I've ever experienced.
Yeah, I mean, I guess context is like the part that's confusing, because like when you're dropped in, they don't even really tell you where you are. Like, the first time you play, it flashes on the screen like where you are in the map.
Right.
You don't have a map. You don't even know where that is. You just start walking. Then you meet a zombie, and you die, and then from that context, you decide, oh, I should not die to zombies. And then you meet a player, and the player kills you, and like, oh, I should be wary of players.
Right.
And I think telling the story through gameplay iteration is a very interesting way to do it. Dark Souls is kind of similar in that, like, they have this whole in-depth story and plot, but they don't present it to you in a very clean way, and you can only really get at it by playing at it over and over again and digging. So I think the way you present a plot is, to me, almost as important as the plot itself.
I would agree, which is why I think that I disagree with Mr. Abernathy. All right, guys, I think it's a great time to take a break. Oh my God, it's so hot here. Can I just tell you?
I know, me too.
It's so hot in here. Woo, Lord, it's so hot. Yeah, we're gonna take a break, and we will be back. And I love you all. And shubop. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Oh my goodness. Before we do anything. Before I ask you what you're eating right now, I just want to point out, for those who were listening during the commercial and you heard during one of the songs, something like in the background of the song, so it was like if you like laxatives, or whatever the hell it said. Let me just state for the record. If you own a website and you play video ads, intrusive video ads that either pop up or just play because they want to play and they're like the bottom corner, you're the devil. And I hope you get what's coming to you, because you are the worst kind of person, and I hate you so much. I'm sitting here like trying to figure out like, oh, this is interesting. This is new. And I click it and just a giant video ad appears for like laxative supplements. I'm like, I can't. I hate you so much. I hate you so much, internet. The worst. The worst kind of people. Hands down, you're the worst.
Hands down.
Anyway, what are you eating? Ice cream? Yogurt.
Chobani, Greek yogurt with strawberry on the bottom.
Gross. Gross. It needs to be Faye. That's the real Greek yogurt. Get out, yo.
12 grams of protein, y'all.
Criken's like, I don't eat yogurt.
I'm
a man. I don't eat yogurt. Meanwhile, I'm like, yogurt! Delightful!
Yogurt! You know, I never really used to eat yogurt very much. I've been eating it more now.
And then you came to California and everyone was like, you gotta get your riboflavins up, yo.
Yeah, man, all those probiotics. Where are you getting your probiotics from?
Uh-huh. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Before we move on to stuff, an article was just posted today. I think it's really kind of cool. It's a PS4 developer on what it means to be next gen. And I was like, that's an interesting subject, because this is the people behind the Order 1886. Did any of you see that this week? The gameplay?
For 1886?
They did a live stream, I guess, and I don't know where you can find video of it. It might be up on YouTube now, maybe? Let's assume. I don't know. But it is them playing through what may be one of the early levels, and it's them showing you the game and just running through it, like running and gunning and shooting guys, and their characters talking to each other, and it's very cool. I don't know, you know, what the final game will be like, but that seemed kind of cool. And so I was curious about this article because I started reading through it, and they were talking about, you know, next gen is kind of letting us go and do humans in a way we feel is like we actually get their personality. I think it's going to be something that next gen lets us really tap into. And I think that's one of the things that they're trying to do with next gen gaming, is make it seem realer. And I'm curious if that's necessarily a good thing, or... I
mean, that's always been the goal, right? Make it as realistic as possible. Higher graphics, crazy textures, bleh.
Right. And I guess, like, even in the article they mentioned, like, if you look back at the old weird plastic Final Fantasy faces that used to exist in the old Final Fantasy games, where it's like this weird, like, even in the best graphically, like, made ones, this weird plastic face. And I think, you know, they're trying to get more and more like, let's make them have pores, and let's make their hair move.
Texture on that face and stuff.
And I'm curious, like, everyone's like, you know, they want it to be movie quality, Avatar-esque, high fidelity, right? We want all the joints to move and all the faces. And so that's great and all, but then when I look at the gameplay footage they have, very dark, very, like, brownish, very gray. And I can't help but think, like, that always amuses me is, and I think TB said this a long time ago, like, the more real they try to get, the more gray and brown it becomes. And I'm curious why that is. I don't, because I'm looking even at the screenshots they include in the article. Their faces, like, the characters' faces look like, you know, really good human faces, but everything they're wearing is gray and brown. All the background's dark, right? Even the gameplay, it's, besides the blast of light from the gun you're firing, very dark, very... it might just be because that's the game, and they're going for, like, a dark, mysterious game world, but I feel like that's the case in almost all we're taking it to the next level games, right? Yeah,
I always kind of assume that if you make something darker, it's harder to see any fake plasticiness to it.
Right. That's probably part of it, I was going to say, yeah. And another thing that I think is maybe... oh, shit. I just had it. Come back to me. I'll figure it out.
I just thought it was interesting. Like, I love the potential for next gen. I think even playing through Rise, even though Rise is by far not a good game, it is still gorgeous to look at. And even the load screens, some of the load screens you look at, you're like, holy shit, like that Crysis engine is gorgeous. Like it really captures like the aesthetics of scenery and background, and it's incredible. And even some of the gameplay aspects, but then you get to things like fire, and like I've always said, we'll know when we're next generation when fire doesn't look like shit that's just doing the same pattern over and over again.
Yeah.
And even last gen, and even things that are new to this gen, fire still doesn't look good. Like it still looks like shitty fire. And you'll know
After Effects fire. Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll know we'll get there when like what was that, like Down Deep or whatever that game was, where the trailer was that dragon breathing fire and the fire looked really, really cool.
Deep Down, yeah.
Yeah, if we can get to that, and that's actually legit what it looks like and not the E3 what it looks like, I feel like that's when we'll have hit next gen. Like, to me, when fire looks real, we're next gen.
I don't really care about things looking... Oh, sorry.
Did you figure it out?
Well, okay, I was going to actually mention about the whole darkness thing. Like, it's the shadows. They want to show off the shadows, because the shadows are, like, such a big part of the next gen. Like, you want to show how cool you can make things cast across each other. So maybe they just throw darkness in to, like, show that off. Another, like you said, is to hide the bad textures, because like it's not going to look good unless we hide anything that's not great, which then makes a brown dark game, because everything. And also, like when you make a very detailed texture and then you zoom very far out, it's going to end up looking kind of brown, because like at least for most things, because when the combination of colors is brown.
Right.
So if you go in really close, I'm sure that you'll have like pores and tons of different colors and stuff. But from far away, it's going to look more brown than it would otherwise.
I guess you're probably right, because when you think in reality, if I saw you way far away, you would look like a dark silhouette. Even if you were wearing like a lightish shirt, you'd still be a dark silhouette in the distance. So I guess that makes sense. I don't necessarily know that I like it in my game, but it makes sense.
I know. Well, that was my question, is like, when are we going to be satisfied with the whole next-gen hyper-realism thing? Because like, we've been claiming to be the realistic game for years now, and for me personally, like I always end up liking the games that are stylized and like that are very cemented in their style. And if they, sell their style to me, then I don't care if it doesn't look realistic or like very pretty. I mean, obviously I'll care if it looks pretty, but like if it's consistent in its style, then I think it does a good job. I don't think it needs to be realistic or pushing the boundaries of technology.
What do you think is hyper realistic? Like, where do you think we are with hyper realistic right now? Because I'm trying to think of a game, like every game that claims to be hyper realistic is usually an FPS, and it's usually the realistic bit is the gun in front of you, because it looks and fires like the gun would look and fire, but the character design and even like the tanks, I'm trying to think of like Battlefield, like even the water is kind of junky. Like, it's not like I have SLI video cards and it's supposed to look great, and it's still like, no, I'm in computer water right now. Like, you don't feel like you're, it's a weird sort of, I question next gen, because looking at last gen, games like Witcher 2, games like Metro Last Light, games that really killed your graphics card, like unnecessarily had settings that would just destroy your computer, they pulled off water and they pulled off like fire and graphics very well, but it was just too much for the time. And I'm curious if that stuff already exists, but we have to, hold it back, because what we have out there console-wise or PC-wise, most people can't do that, so why bother?
Yeah, I think there's an interesting dilemma with the whole next-gen thing, because to make something look really pretty, you're going to need a lot of funding to make that pretty. But if you're going to make that pretty, then you have to have enough in the game to justify it. So like, with a game like Battlefield, like, sure, individual textures might be really nice, but they need an entire world and system full of tons of different teams to then, fill the space to make that. And what you have as a result is this enormous game that, although would have been like a very pretty and like, neatly wrapped experience if it was, made by a small team of very talented individuals, you're going to have like this giant, monster of a game that is going to have, seams that are clearly visible. Like you said, the water, if like you run through it, it's gonna like have a 2D sprite that splashes, or like you know, if you go to the edge of the map, you'll see like repeating textures on rocks, and like there's not really a way to work around that other than spending, you know, years and years on games and scoping down over and over again, because I think scope is the biggest part that games have to come to terms with. And to make like a truly next gen, like, you know, hyper realistic game, I think you'd actually have to scope it down to the point where it's very focused in what it delivers, and instead of being like this grand sweeping like scale, like, you know, a lot of FPSs try.
I keep wondering how big our VR systems are going to have to be in order to actually handle when we reach hyperrealism.
Holodeck.
Because hyperrealism is going to be, you know,
you tried
hand in
the
hand
holodeck?
with VR.
I want a holodeck. That's my.
Yeah.
I don't need much in my life. I just need to live long enough to go into a holodeck. After that, I don't care when I die, but I need a holodeck. I will fight tooth and nail to stay alive long enough to go into a holodeck, be like, initiate Riker Protocol 1, and me and Commander Riker go and pick up chicks on the holodeck. That's my dream. That's what I want. Science, get on that shit. I'll be an old man like,
Jesse.
Come on, Commander Riker, let's go get some tail.
But on the holodeck, you'll be a strapping young man.
Well, to the holograms I will, but in reality I'll still, I mean, it doesn't change who you are. I can put on different clothes. Like, holodeck, make me 70s pimp clothes. Like, all right, ladies. No, go like that.
Yeah, you gotta be in like...
Yeah, I'm gonna make your day right now.
Let's say there's a holodeck, because I will kill you.
Yes, actually. There's a recent USC graduate from last year that I met last year, and he made a project called the Holodeck. When he graduated, they ended up like rebranding to think like called Survios, but basically what it is like this technology. It's a Oculus technology where you have like, you know, the Rift on, you're wearing it, and then you're wearing a backpack that has, right now I think they have it like a ghetto, like, so it's like a strapped laptop and like a motion. You're holding like PlayStation motion sensors, and I've tried it out at Indiecade, and when you move around, it measures your movement in a 3D space simply by the movement of the laptop, and your PlayStation sensors moves your hand movement, and your head is tracked by the Oculus. So you're literally in this 3D environment. I played a zombie game where I literally walked up. I had to pick up a shotgun by going like this, and then, like, I had to like holster it like this, and like look through the scope, and then like the zombies were all around me. I could hear them behind me, so I have to spin around, and like it was brilliant. And they're like actually planning to, I think, launch either this like holiday season or the next one. So like they're coming out soon, and it's really cool stuff.
Like I think what I'm thinking of is when I can lose the mask and be in a room and my own eyes see whatever. I feel like that will be.
Oh, so like optical nerve, like, you know, stuff.
No, just like even in, you know, just like Star Trek, where it's just like it exists. What is this? I don't know. Science. It exists because science. And I want that. I want to get to that point. And I feel like the process of getting there, what you talked about, you can see like the steps. Like, all right, well, first we need to figure out where you're going to move, right? And then how you'd interact with things. And so eventually what I think it'll be you'll have the eyes, and then eventually they'll get rid of the controller and you'll just use gloves or something for your hands. So then you can interact with everything that's happening in the environment. And then over time, they would lose the gloves because then everything could be in the headset. And then eventually the last goal is to get rid of the headset. Once that's gone, that's when we have holodeck. When you can experience a world that keeps moving. Mind you, I never understood ever how you could walk from one side of the holodeck to the other and not hit a wall.
That's what I've always wondered.
I never understood that, but I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I like the idea of the technology and I want that. But it, you know, it doesn't make much sense. But whatever. I feel like that's, once we get to there, then you know what? You might as well just push me out on an iceberg and let me die at sea, because I will have experienced what I need to and I can die. And that'll be it. That's all I want. That's all I want is a holodeck.
That'll be the next big addiction too.
Yeah, we could totally do that. I mean,
I'm looking at you, future nerd. I'm looking at you. Make it happen.
Future nerd.
Make it happen.
I got your back, Jesse. I'll get you the holodeck. I'll get you like exclusive access. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, it'll have to be exclusive because that place will be a mess after I'm done.
Oh God. What an image.
Commander Riker will have made an equal mess, but only mine will be real.
Oh.
Anyway, so I thought that was interesting. I was really curious about just what you guys thought of next gen, because you always see people talking about it and hyping it and how we're in next gen now with our new consoles, and it needs to be said that next gen really isn't next gen because the consoles are using stuff that's 2 years, 1 year old at this point. So really, the consoles are last gen, next gen. It's just expanding what they can do with things, and even PCs are pretty like current. You know, like I don't think we'll see next gen for some time, but I like that people have their eye on it and they're like, this is what we want to achieve, and we want to make everything more realistic. We want to make it better, and I'm all for that. Because, like I said, holodeck.
I just don't want them to keep sacrificing gameplay for like making a real looking game, you know.
I'm really curious because you're right. I think the biggest example of graphics over substance would always have to be the Final Fantasy movie. If any of you saw that, that was like, look at the pores on their skin and the way their hair moves, and then when the final line of your movie is, it's so warm. Like, you know, you're just like, nope. We've gone too far in one direction. You spent all your money making it look good, and no one gave a shit about the story. And I feel like that's sort of my biggest fear is we'll spend more and more money trying to make things look good and not care about what it is that makes games fun. Be it the story, be it the gameplay, be it the little tiny things that make games enjoyable. We'll lose out on that. And I think...
Yeah, I'd agree.
I mean, you can see that
that's a real problem
in games now, right? So...
Yeah, especially, like, I think like the feel of a game, to me at least, is so much more important than how it looks. And like a game like Hotline Miami, like it was made in Game Maker, which is like a very simple program. It's like a top-down, like pixelated little thing, but the whole style and the feel of your character is enough that it's like one of my favorite games of last year. Like I love you can like run around and it feels so good, and the between the graphics and the music, it all contributes to that feeling. Like a lot of games kind of, even if it feels like one game, it tries to look like something else, and that's I think where you miss your audience. Like everything should be working together to get that single experience.
Would you say that I think that defines next gen more to me than graphics?
Yeah.
Is that combination of getting that perfect, where it doesn't matter how it looks, it just matters that you got everything you needed to do perfectly connected to make it an experience in itself. I think that's, to me, more next gen than, look at her hair, it's Lara Croft's hair, and you have to have 12 graphics cards to make each strand move on its own.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I think so.
I remember it because I was going to do a video, and then I just gave up because I didn't care, but I recorded 1 graphics card, Lara Croft hair, 2 graphics card, Lara Croft hair, and the difference is incredible, mind you, but it's unnecessary. Like, no one said, God, I relate so much more to her as a character because her hair, like, wafts like this when she runs.
That's not what it's about, though, you know?
Yeah, oh yeah,
That's not what it's about.
It's about pushing limits and seeing what we can do and making it, yeah. I get it, but it's an unnecessary, like, it's one of those things where it's, out of all the things you could care about in a game, hair is always one of the last things. Because even in games where the graphics are, like, gorgeous, the hair is like this matte. Always. And so, I don't know, it's interesting. I feel like eventually the combination of all those technologies together would create a really fantastic looking game. And we'll just see, what that game will be. Chances are it'll be like Halo 6 and everyone has a mask. So tough shit. Like, damn,
they don't worry about hair. I mean, honestly, like all the FPSs get off because they're, you know, in the army, so they all have shaved heads, or they're in Halo and they have a mask on. So it's like, you know, it sucks. We don't have to, you know, spend all our budget on hair while Lara Croft fell down that sinkhole.
I think this year at E3, that's when we'll see the big games that are coming out. Like, we're gonna try and push limits.
Fingers crossed.
I hope.
Oh yeah, we better. Otherwise, the consoles are really just disappointing.
I was blown away because this year I got an invite to go to the Xbox One, and I feel like, good.
Oh yeah.
Right? Last year Xbox was like, cool. F you, Jesse Cox. This year they were like, come please, and I was like,
Mr. Cox, would you like to attend our conference?
I would love to. I was so jealous because I was across the street of the EA one, which was, you know, lots of lights, but not much to show. And the Xbox One, there was lines of people, and I was like, man, I want to go there. Now I get to go there! Here's the problem, though. I don't know they'll have anything good. I imagine they won't have anything to watch.
You'll know before anyone else.
Yeah.
I wish I was a giant shill for Xbox. Look, Xbox, if you want to pay me to do stuff, I will do it. Here's spoiler, they won't. They don't give a shit. They're like, you're not our target audience, Jesse. Tear. So I think we're getting close to the end here. Let's talk new releases. Yeah? What say you? The list I got, which is the list we usually get that TV has, only had releases for today, but I know that there are other releases this week. Like, even just going to Steam, like I said earlier, a game that I'm really looking forward to, Among the Sleep, comes out Thursday,
Among the
Friday.
Sleep, so excited, yeah.
Right? Here's the thing. Can I ask you a question? Did you play the demo for Among the Sleep? Did any of you play that? Did you play Criken?
I didn't.
It's scary. It's not, like, horrifying scary, but there's a lot of, like, jumps and stuff. But here's my thing. You're playing a baby, so how scary can they make the game?
Can the game get? I don't know.
Because unless these are the most edgy developers on the planet, and they're like, oh no, we kill babies in our game, then good for them, because that's edgy as balls. But I feel like most people will be like, it's scary, and you're a baby, and you're in this, you know, you have to wobble around, and that's sort of like the fun of it. But I don't know, like, how scary can they get? Right? And that's that's what I'm curious about. That's what I really, really want to play this game, because who knows? I have no clue.
Well, like, your teddy bear's like evil, right?
No, your teddy bear gets lost in the trailer. Your teddy bear, no, I'm sorry. Your teddy bear gets taken from you, and you find him in the demo. You find him in the dryer, and he's like, "Oh my God, they put me in there!" And he gets out, and he's your friend.
but
he's like, he might be kind of evil, right?
Oh, I have no clue. If he is, that's awesome. An evil teddy bear.
That'd be pretty great. I'm looking at this, like, I agree. They can't. I feel like killing a baby would be totally the wrong idea. Right. I think what's so cool about this concept is, like, if they can make you actually feel like you're like a baby, it would make everything seem so much more real. And since you are, like, you know, a baby with, like, these non-developed, you know, psychiatric, like, everything is going to seem so much bigger and more terrifying to you. So they already have that going for them. But then also, like, we have no idea what babies see. So, like, when we see a baby crying and walking around, they could be having the craziest trip of their lives, and we have no idea. So, like,
that's honestly what I think is kind of cool about the game. Is if I was going to make a game like this is just me. This may not be the plot at all. I would make the game like, oh yeah, it's horrifying, but only because it's a baby. And in reality, the things the baby sees aren't scary at all. They're just like, that's his mom's shadow, but it looks horrifying to the baby, like that kind of thing. And I imagine, like, oh no, the baby, you know, it's dark and it's rainy and the baby got out of its crib. Like, that kind of, they don't even need to go supernatural with it. They can just make it, like, horrifying because you're a baby. And I think there's a lot of potential there.
You as a baby, as is, you know, like, you don't know the context of anything, so everything's terrifying.
The potential of that is great. I think it's fantastic. And, you know, good on them for actually trying something new. That's what the key is an entirely new concept that I'm surprised hasn't been done before. Because it seems like a smart, easy one. But that's just me. That's just me.
I just hope it's good and has it has enough whimsy that you're able to put yourself in the baby's position, you know? Yes.
Hold on, brace yourself. Move. Okay. Woo. Sorry, I had to open my Steam for a sec. And it popped up right in front of where the screen region was, and I knew it was going to happen, so here's hoping it all worked out. No, I wanted to see what's coming soon.
I have another list to read from. It looks pretty similar, though.
Good. Wonderful. Perfect.
It's Watch Dogs, which came out today. Mind Zero comes out today for PlayStation Vita.
What is that?
Mind Zero.
Anime game? It's an
anime game, yeah.
The fact that you said Vita, I immediately was like, that's all it could be. It's an anime game.
Probably an anime game, yeah. The Sly Cooper Collection. Ace Combat Infinity.
If you have never, first off, where's Ace Combat Infinity for?
Let me look.
Look, I have my priorities.
Ace Combat Infinity, PlayStation 3 Network.
What? I can play that on PlayStation? That might happen.
The long-running Ace Combat franchise goes free-to-play in the Spider Jet combat game for the PlayStation 3.
Yeah, boy. Free-to-play? Is that a freebie for PlayStation Network Plus?
I guess. Maybe.
I don't know. I haven't played that one yet, so I can't tell you guys if that's the one to get into. Go play Ace Combat 5 or 4 first. Mwah, love you. Also, Sly Cooper. Get that shit.
Sly Cooper games are great.
Game.
Also,
Oh, did you hear about they're making a movie?
Sly Cooper movie?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
animated?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't like they try to make it look realistic, and I don't want a realistic looking.
So
Sly
it's
Cooper.
it's
that's
so it's
terrifying.
not cartoon. It's like
It's cartoon, but it's like realism cartoon. So it's like
What?
you can see all the individual like furs, and it looks like a raccoon, or I guess a coop. Yeah, it is a raccoon. Yeah, it looks like a raccoon with like a little
Whatever.
mask. It's
I
Oh my
agree. I don't think I
God.
like that. Do they have pictures of it?
there's a trailer I watched. I don't know if you have
Oh
it.
Lord! All right.
access, but-
Well, go look that up, internet. I'm not even gonna.
Jesse.
I'm literally not messing with anything right now. I'm just gonna.
This next game you need to play.
Which
It's
is
called Monster Mon Piece. And the description is an online card game featuring fantasy monsters anthropomorphized as anime girls.
whoa, Monster Mon piece. Mm-hmm. Shut the front door. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's very silly. So that also came out today for Vita.
Oh well, there you go. I won't play that. Wait. Oh, okay. Here's the thing. Yeah, no. I can't play this. This is so all
I'll
the
play it.
all the monster. Here's the problem. All the Monster Girls and like the collector's edition thing. Like when you look at like the characters, half of them look like they're 6, and then they're like, you can make them wear swimsuits. Like no, I don't want to do that. It's a little much. It's a little much, Japan. You gotta cut. Although this girl who looks like a bull, she's got nice udders, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
Right, Dodger? Udders. For milk.
Uh-huh.
I might
right.
have to play this game.
All right.
The last game coming out today is Lemmings Touch.
Ooh, Lemmings.
There's also
Lemmings game.
There's also a game called The Stomping Land coming out today.
Oh, is that? Oh God, I know about that. That's such a good game.
Do you?
I mean, I think it's a good game. I followed the Kickstarter campaign for a long time. It's like a.
Yeah, it's a good
This is
story.
super cool. I'm actually gonna get this. It's like a. All right, it's like
Oh, Dinosaur Survival?
Daisy. Yeah, it's like Daisy but dinosaurs. You play as a little like tribal guy, and you're in this jungle surrounded by dinosaurs. You can craft traps to catch the dinosaurs. You got to survive. I think it's online as well, so you can like work together to take down like a T-Rex. I love dinosaurs. Not enough games have done dinosaurs right. I feel like this has potential. I have not tried it yet though, so don't quote me on that.
Dude, this looks really cool. First off, there's a dude
Yeah.
riding a dinosaur, and that already is plus 1,000 points in my
Yeah.
estimation.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so you can like track them, so you can throw paintballs on them, so you can follow them. Smoke arrows, multi-shot. You can tame beasts. Dude is riding a Triceratops. Oh, and then you can craft the world.
Like,
It really is. It's Daisy, but with dinosaurs. That's exactly what it is.
Exactly. Yep.
Unpredictable
I'll
rain and
probably
fog
try that out.
cycles. There are deep caves without a torch. Caves are pitch black. There's swimmable ocean to fear spish. To spear fish. This looks great. Stompingland.com. Go check it out, guys. Also, the way you follow them is by their tracks. That's awesome. So the way you follow different enemies is not you like you can tag them with bombs or whatever, but you follow them by tracks, and each dinosaur has a different track. That's pimp. That's really cool.
That's super cool.
The one thing that can make that game even better is if while you're tracking dinosaurs, velociraptors are always tracking you. That'd be cool. That'd be real cool. So you're always hunting dinosaurs. Meanwhile, they're always raptors chasing you. That'd be awesome. Sign me up. That looks really fun.
Yeah.
So that comes out today?
I
guess, because I
it's
just said it.
Early
so.
access. It's on Steam Early Access right now. I think it says it unlocks in 3 days, 3 hours for me. I'm not sure.
Yep. It's
There's
early
an
access right now.
early
Yeah.
access. Yeah. So go check it out.
Wow. They got holy crap. This is the kind of game that I love. So for this game, I assume they had it pretty much already done because they wanted $20,000 on Kickstarter. They got $114,000. So I assume people are way into this thing.
Yeah, I donated.
That's awesome.
Invested, I guess.
Very cool.
Did you donate to Solar Freaking Roadways? because I did.
Oh yeah, I saw that too. That's super cool.
All right, so that's also Gravity Badgers on Wii U.
Gravity Badgers comes out the 29th.
Does it? Mm-hmm. And then Mega Man Extreme 2. So
that comes out the 29th as well.
Oh, screw it. Then you go. It's your job. You do it.
May 29th, Mega Man Extreme 2 comes out. Also May 29th, what? Gravity Badgers comes out.
What?
I know.
Crazy.
I know. The 30th, Mario Kart 8 comes out, and The Stomping Land. And then June 2nd, Infinity Runner comes out. And that's the end of our releases.
We also have Monochroma coming out, it looks like.
Monochroma.
And everyone and their brother's talking about that game. And so, yeah. And then a bunch of other, like, a story about my uncle, which I have no idea what that game's about. What?
Somebody just linked me to the Monster One Piece wiki because there's a GIF on there. Too. Yeah.
The way you open the packs for the cards is you just rub your Vita up and down.
You have to like rub really hard. It says the extreme rub system requires players to stroke both sides of the PlayStation Vita in order to seal the card and remove the clothing from the character in the card.
They're not even trying at this point. They're just flat up giving it to you.
It's so silly.
Why?
Uh-huh.
I want to know. All right, I want to see someone like waiting for the train or the bus, and I want to see them going like this.
It's like whatever.
And I want to be like, oh, he's playing that one game.
Every story I hear about Japan, though, I hear like that's it. That's Japan. Is like dudes just doing just that, which doesn't seem crazy to me at all. Like, oh yeah, no, that's just the thing. Which again, that's why I want to go to Japan so badly. I feel like I would fit in right at home with all the crazy shit going
on. There are many cards that are cut from the North American and European versions of the game.
Go on.
There's a 17 and up rating on the original Japanese version, specifically for the high-level evolution forms of the vampire, kraken, goblin, cockatrice, kobold, skeleton, titania, bahamut, Thea, brownie, pegasus. Oh, Jesus, there's forever.
One Piece.
They've all been
the
Kraken is gone. There's no Kraken. There's no
high-level evolution cards. I'm looking this up right now. High-level evolution cards. Hello, nurse. Here's a list of the evolution cards that have been. All right. First off. The skeleton isn't even a skeleton in this image. It's just a girl lying on her back, like staring at her vagina.
Oh.
The Pegasus is a girl bent over with a tail grinding on a bow. What?
Yep, I'm looking at them now.
Why is this a thing? Oh god, that's amazing. This game. I don't.
This is ridiculous. So many butts.
I can't even figure out why this is... Damn it, Japan. What happened to you? You gave us Mario. You gave us Zelda. You gave us games that inspire generations. And then you're like, maybe you want some more boobies? I feel like times have changed.
Well, this is a Vita game, though.
Oh, that's right. I guess you're right. Vita is...
not Nintendo.
I'm just saying... All in all, Japan. I'm accusing Japan of sucking lately.
It's a generalization, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's a generalization.
Don't worry, guys. I'll get this game. I'll get this game and then come back and let you know how it is.
There is literally a little girl. She looks like she's 12, riding what appears to be a Dragon Ball. I don't know what the hell is happening right now. She's naked and covered in white foam. We've gone too far.
Too deep? We're too deep?
We're too deep in this game. Monster Mon Piece. That's what I'm saying. Chat. They all look like kids. That is the worst. Ugh, gross. Why can't we get back to the way anime was when the girls had abnormally large boobs and butts, and the guys all look the same but have different hair colors and lengths? Those were the days. Fist of the North Star. Bring it back. We need it. We need Fist of the North Star. Bring it back. That's when dudes were like all like. Rrr.
Yeah, you should watch JoJo's. That's all JoJo's is.
I need that. Anime, you've changed. You've changed. You've gotten too weird. You became too chibi and cute, and then you were like, why don't we sex that up? No! Draw the line. That's all I'm saying. Good contribution, Dodger.
Thank you. Thank you.
We needed more dicks in chat. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's wrap this bad boy up, shall we? Let's talk about what we're doing on our channels this week. Criken, hit us up. You said you were doing stuff, and you were like, I'll save it for the appropriate time. Now's that time.
Now is the time. Okay. I made the Dark Souls 2 playthrough part 1 on Sunday, so that's up my channel. I did the Harry Potter playthrough part 2. That is from yesterday. And then this upcoming weekend, I'm going to be releasing the Arcade part 1 of The Adventures of Captain Andy Trout. First part, unfortunately, is mostly questing and grinding, so it's more introducing the characters of the ongoing series. But after that, we're going to be on the ocean and like stealing stuff, and it gets really fun. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Awesome. Very cool.
Oh, you can check that out at youtube.com/Criken2. That is my channel, so come say hi.
There you go.
What's your Twitter?
My Twitter is @Crickmaster. That's CRIKMASTER. Send me a tweet.
Be careful, there's another person who is basically just pretending to be him, who has the exact same face and everything, and I was like, there are two of them. So I actually had to go look and figure out which was the real one.
I didn't realize that. I'll take them out.
That's why we all need to get verified.
That's Twitter. I found out how you get verified. The reason people get verified is because other people are pretending to be them. So I require that everyone pretend to be us. I need at least 50 fake Jessies. Make that happen.
Oh God.
Then I'll get verified. They can be like, look at all these pretenders. Ding. Check mark.
This pretender has been tweeting ads to just random places that are probably viruses, and he's got like 2,000 followers. So
no, don't do it. Stop. No, stop.
Crickmaster, follow that. All right, Dodger, what are you doing this week?
Press Heart is still on hiatus for the rest of this week, and then we'll be coming back starting Monday. So I've been recording a bunch of stuff for that, and it's been really fun, and I'm like super excited. Thank you all for being so patient. But if you just need your Dodger fix, you can go to youtube.com/dexteritybonus, where I drink coffee and talk about my cats for 10 minutes every day. So you can come hang out there. I have a camera that isn't all fuzzy and gross anymore. It's crazy. It's been a crazy week.
It still works like my camera, though. I saw your video where you were like, this is my new camera, and it does the weird fade.
Does the light balance thing constantly? Yeah. You just gotta figure it out. And it's fine. But yeah, those are my two channels on all of the socials. I'm at Dexterity Bonus, DEXBONUS, and I would love to have you. So that's it.
All right, for me, this week, I think I tweeted this out, but this week we're going to finish up Wolfenstein and Child of Light, and then next week we'll be doing Among the Sleep and Tex Murphy still, and then those will be finished up, and then during E3 we'll do an indie E3 week, because as Criken said, there's 12 billion indie games out right now, and I want to give them all the time they deserve. So we'll probably do a one-shot of each of them during E3, so while I'm focusing on games that are too damn big for their own good, you guys can check out games that you should be playing that you aren't right now. So that's what will happen that week. Jesse Cox on Twitter, the Jesse Cox on Facebook. Go check out my Machu Picchu pictures. They're wonderful. And I think that's really it. I mean, hell, I want to get out. Do you guys want? Let's get out of here early.
Okay.
What TV don't know won't hurt him. We can get out of here 9 minutes early. He don't care. He don't care. He's with his parents at brunch. You can see the picture, texting. He's watching right now. He's watching the stream right now on his phone, drinking champagne.
He's tweeting about 30 FPS and how deplorable it is. I know because I just looked at Twitter.
Jeez. Well, there you go. TV's got it figured out. All right, guys, that's it for the podcast. Thank you so much for watching today. I want to let you know, that right there, that is a pimple. That's like what happens before prom. This was my prom night, and so hopefully you enjoyed it enough that it was reasonably fun for you. So thank you, and we will see you guys when we see you guys.
So long. Mwah.
Thanks for having me, guys. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you, Criken.
Yeah.